There's a deep comfort in knowing that no matter how uncertain the world feels, you have a safe place, a shelter that never fades, never breaks, never closes its doors. That shelter is the love of God. It's not a place you have to travel to, not something you have to earn. It's here, right now, wrapping around you like a soft blanket at the end of a long day. You may not see it, but you can feel it, that quiet warmth settling, the steady calm that tells you you're home. All through Scripture, God describes himself as a refuge, a strong tower, a hiding place, a shadow of protection. He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. What a tender image, the Creator of the universe, bending low to shield your weary heart. His love is not distant, it's near, personal and fiercely gentle. No storm can tear it away. No darkness can hide you from it. When life feels too heavy to bear, his love becomes your shelter, holding you close until the winds pass and peace returns. Take a slow breath. Let that truth settle deep inside you. The love of God doesn't change when you stumble. It doesn't fade when you doubt. It's not measured by how strong your faith is. It's measured by how constant his heart is. Even when you feel lost, his love finds you, even when you can't pray the right words. His love speaks space over you. You are not outside his care. You are not too far gone. You are his beloved, and his arms are always open. Tonight, let go of the need to be strong. Rest in his shelter. Picture yourself resting beneath his wings, safe, warm, unhurried. The world outside may still spin, but here, in the quiet of his love, you are held steady. You don't need to understand how it all works. Just know that you are covered. You are seen. You are safe. His love is your hiding place, not just for this moment, but for every moment to come. As you breathe in this peace, let gratitude rise in your heart. Thank him for being your refuge through every season, your shelter through every storm. His love has never failed you, and it never will. If this moment of peace has touched your heart, take a second to subscribe and share this space with someone who needs to be reminded that there is safety in God's love. Together, let's rest under his wings in the quiet shelter of his unending grace. I welcome you into this quiet time. A soft light holds the room. A hush settles like a gentle blanket. I invite a slow inhale now. Hold the breath for a moment. Let it go without hurry. Breathe again. The rhythm meets the body. The rhythm soothes the mind. I sit with a lamp low beside me. The pages rest, ready to be turned. My voice will keep a steady pace. Each sentence will land like a calm footfall. The purpose here is rest. The promise is mercy. The evening leans in. Allow it. Settle where you are. Adjust a pillow. Loosen a collar. Lay a hand where it feels safe. A small sigh is welcome. Let shoulders drop. Allow the jaw to soften. If there is tension in the chest, notice it without judgment. Name it quietly in your heart. Let the breath trace a path around it. Inhale compassion. Exhale release. I speak in first person because I stand with you in this room. I speak as one who reads beside another. Together we gather for the same gentle thing, to listen and to be still. The words that follow aim to bring calm. They aim to remind of tender mercy, not to argue or to teach in weighty ways. Tonight is about ease. Imagine a window at your side. Outside, the evening moves in slow layers. The sky fades softly. A single star appears. A breeze carries a distant sound. Perhaps a dog barks. Then quiet. Perhaps rain taps like fingers on a roof. These small things keep time. They do not demand. They offer company. Let the mind rest in that company. If the body needs warmth, tuck a blanket close. If the hands are cold, rub the palms together slowly. If worry wakes inside, place it on an imagined table. Look at it. Give it a name. Then set it down. In this place, burdens find a corner. They do not disappear at once. They grow smaller when held with gentleness. We are a small circle at the edge of day. We share breath, silence, attention, even apart. The presence of others matters. The thought of the group brings comfort. A voice reads while many listen. That act alone is a kind of fellowship. It is simple and real. It does not require words. It requires only the willingness to be present. Before I begin, I invite a posture of quiet. You may close your eyes if that helps. Or you may keep them open on a friendly point. Some rest their gaze on a small candle or on a familiar picture. Others prefer the dark. Choose what soothes. Let the hands find their place. Let the feet settle. Let the breath find its pace. A few moments now to prepare the heart. Imagine a harbor dusk. Small boats nestle close. Each one has traveled a day. Each one carries a load. The shoreline is patient. It receives the boats without hurry. Safety is not loud. It is steady and sure. Picture that shore as a sheltering care. Picture it accepting each vessel as it comes in. The image steadies the mind. If thoughts drift to tasks not yet done, acknowledge them and then allow them to move on. Like leaves on a slow current, the tasks will be there when the morning returns. For now, grant the self a pause. This pause is healing. It is not selfish. It is a necessary tending of the spirit. Think of it as medical rest for the soul. Some may carry grief. Some carry fear. Some carry a soft and quiet joy. Whatever the weight, place it gently in a cupped hand within your imagination. Speak one short word to it. Rest, peace, mercy, hope. Let that word be an offering. Release the hand. Trust that the simple act begins a gentle exchange. As the reader, I will move slowly. No rush will press the sentences. Each phrase will arrive with space around it. That space lets the words sink in. It lets the heart catch them. It allows memory to soften and align with the present calm. The pace is part of the healing itself. We will hold to gentle, clear language. No heavy argument will come tonight. The tone is like a lamp beside a bed. It is not a proclamation in a marketplace. It is a small, steady glow nearby. The message leans on mercy. It leans on a quiet assurance that care reaches into life in tender ways. If rest feels distant, listen to the cadence of my breathing for a moment. Match it with your own. Inhale slowly with me. Pause. Exhale. Keep this rhythm when the mind wanders. Return without frustration. Compassion for the wandering mind helps it settle. There will be short moments of silence as I read. Those gaps are intentional. They allow the words to breathe. They allow the heart to answer in its own language. The answers may be sighs, tears, or simply quiet gratitude. All responses are welcome. No one will be required to speak. If the eyes close, let the mind picture a single candle flame. Watch it steady. Let the flame become a symbol of attention. If sleep arrives, let it come. Sleep is not a failure. Sleep is a gentle gift. If the eyes remain open, let the words fall like soft rain. Both states carry the same grace. I will not press anyone to adopt particular beliefs. Instead, I will read with tenderness about care that reaches us. The tone is pastoral and calm. It offers rest and hope. It reminds of mercy present among ordinary things. The reading invites trust, not debate. If prayer is a natural habit, offer a short one now in the heart. If prayer is unfamiliar, sit with gratitude for one small, good thing from the day. A cup warmed by sun, a brief smile from a stranger. The small things build a soft bridge to healing. Picture a tree outside with leaves that slow in the evening breeze. Each leaf catches a little light and then slips into shadow. The tree does not panic. It waits. The seasons care for it. Imagine your life like that tree. Seasons come. Seasons move on. The present night is a season of rest. We will be mindful of the body. The neck holds stress. Gently move it side to side with slow intention. Shoulders roll backward and forward with small movements. Wiggle the fingers. Let the feet find a small flex. The body tallies the day. Small acts of attention ease the tally. The concept of mercy is not distant or abstract. Mercy settles as a hand on the shoulder. It is a warm blanket draped over shivering shoulders. It is a quiet word that says not to carry all of this alone. Let that thought be like a soft balm. Tonight the readings will be short. They will be spaced. After each reading, a few moments will be allowed for reflection. Use that time to breathe and to rest. No note-taking is needed. The listening itself is the practice. Community matters here, even when quiet. Imagine the many who will listen in other rooms. They may breathe differently. Their stories vary. Yet all come to the same quiet place. There is comfort in shared presence. The sense of not being alone brings healing by itself. If a mind insists on an urgent problem, set a simple plan for the morning. Write a single line in the mind. One small step. That step can be a call, a note, or a morning walk. Then place the rest aside for tonight. By naming one small item, the mind can release the rest. To rest, I offer this invitation from a place of calm. No demand accompanies it. Only an opening. Accept what helps. Leave what does not. The evening keeps no record of performance. It measures only willingness to be still. As the opening draws to a close, make one more small act of tending. Place the hands where they rest best. Set the feet. Let the breath find a little slower pace than before. Feel the chest expand and soften. Let the mind align with the body. We will begin the reading soon. The first passage will be short and steady. It will speak of care and quiet rest. After that, we will sit with a few minutes of silence. Then another reading will arrive. The pattern repeats in gentle waves. Each wave brings the possibility of deeper calm. If at any point sleep comes, that is welcome. If not, stay in the gentle rhythm. Allow the words to anchor the evening. Allow them to be a guide back to peace. Now, for a few moments, listen to the room. Hear the steady hush. Notice any small sounds without naming them. Let them be part of the evening's music. Hold the image of the harbor once more. Picture your boats resting close. Picture the shoreline patient and sure. When you are ready, let the eyes close or rest on a soft point of focus. Place a hand over the heart if that feels right. I will begin the reading in a few breaths. The voice will be slow. The words will be kind. The aim is rest. The aim is hope. The aim is mercy. We start together. The first passage comes now. I breathe with you and begin. The room is still. A lamp keeps a small halo. I speak slowly now. The words come like soft steps. Tonight I read and I listen with you. This passage shows a scene. It begins with a hush of unrest among many. Rulers gather their plans in secret rooms. Voices rise like distant thunder. The noise is restless and loud for a moment. Then it becomes a simple fact of the world. People resist the gentle rule of what is good. They turn away from gentle care and reach for their own ways. I picture those gatherings by the water. Men and women stand in small circles. Their breath fogs in the cool air. Papers move. Hens point. The plans sound clever. They try to change what is steady. Their intent is to break the shape of peace. Yet, in the quiet that follows, a different presence watches without alarm. The sky above holds a calm I can feel. It is not surprised. It holds long memory. From that place, a care watches the small uprisings. The watching is not harsh. It is not sudden anger. It is a steady, Zofrein calm, the kind of calm that knows storms pass and that trust outlasts the noise. I imagine that watching presence as a parent at a distance. The parent sees children stamp their feet and go through a fit. The parent speaks once, without strain. The voice settles the room. It does not shout. It does not argue. It names what is true. In the same way, the higher care sets a gentle boundary around the restless plots. There follows a quiet installation of a king. Not a king who seeks glory for himself, This king appears as one who receives a kind and firm trust. He sits on a hill that feels holy and close to the heart. From that place, his rule flows outward like a warm, steady light. The power given to him is not a reckless force, but a shaping strength. He holds things in order, so peace can grow. I see the king as someone who stands with hands open. He is both strong and merciful. Strength without mercy feels cold. Mercy without strength cannot hold the broken pieces. This king manages both. He binds what is shattered. He calms what is frayed. His reign is a shelter for those too tired to keep watch alone. Images form slowly. Nations come like rivers that meet a larger sea. The sea receives them without fight. Their currents alter and then belong. The king's dominion is like that sea. It gathers and makes room. It does not crush with needless force. It steadies with firm, quiet resolve. The text carries a stern line, but I soften it in my voice tonight. The hard words appear as a protective firmness, not violence. When pottery breaks, it does not return to its first shape. The image tells me that resistance to this gentle rule wears thin and harmlessly falls away. What remains is care for what the heart truly needs. I move now into the call the passage gives. It asks for a wise response. It invites the listener to come close. Think of a shy child moving toward a familiar shoulder. The heart leans into shelter and finds approval. The invitation is not a demand. It is a welcome. It encourages reverence. That reverence is not fear, but respect that opens the way to safety. I speak plainly. Find refuge in the kindness that watches over the world. Trust need not be loud. Small trust can be the most honest. Let the mind consider the steadiness offered above the clamor. Take comfort, like a warm cloak. It wraps and holds and asks nothing grand in return. There is also a call to wisdom in small acts. The passage asks for obedience, wrapped in joy. Obedience here means listening and responding with gladness. It means pairing fear with delight. A trembling that becomes worship is a trembling that finds its end in joy. Imagine a child who shivers in a cool evening and then runs into the arms of a loved one. The chill becomes a memory, transformed by the shelter. I hold the image of a kiss, not as ceremony, but as a sign of closeness. It is the closing of distance. It is a way to show loyalty without drama. To approach with that tenderness speaks of trust. Notre mère duty. It says, in simpler form, that one's life rests in another's hands. Blessing follows for those who choose this way. The blessing is quiet. It is like rain that comes soft after a long drought. It does not parade itself. It soaks in, and the ground remembers to breathe. Those who make the higher care their refuge will find peace. They will sleep with less weight. Their waking will hold less fear. I keep the tone light tonight. The heaviness of judgment recedes. The promise of mercy presses forward. Even where firmness is present, it serves mercy. The assurance here is not of escape from hard things. It is of a companion through them. It is of a ruler who shares the burden and steadies the hand. Pause with me now. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold a gentle moment. Exhale slowly. Let the last image sit like a small stone in the palm. The stone is smooth. It is worn by water. It reminds you that time softens edges. Think also of the communal nature of this peace. The nations and rulers who rage are many, yet the peace belongs to all who accept it. It does not exclude. It reaches into crowded places and into quiet rooms. The same hand that calms a nation comforts one weary person in a narrow bed. If doubt arises, do not push it away roughly. Name it softly. Place it beside the stone. Watch it with a steady calm. In time, many doubts find a resting place. They stop clawing and begin to still. Mercy is patient with the slow work of trust. I keep my voice low. The words move like a small boat on a gentle tide. No sudden motion interrupts. The reading is a lamp for the closed dark. It does not aim to resolve every question. It aims to bring a sense of safe presence. It invites a simple decision to lean toward trust tonight. There is also a practical tenderness here. The passage asks the heart to serve with reverence and to rejoice with trembling. That looks like careful action in the morning. It looks like soft steps taken without hurry. It looks like choosing to bless rather than to dominate. Small habits formed in quiet produce calm in long days. As I wind this reading to a close, let the words fold into silence. Let a few breaths absorb them. The silence is not empty. It is the space where the message moves inward. Allow that motion. Let it be a lamp against the night. I will sit with the hush for a moment. If sleep comes, allow it. If not, rest in the feel of being watched over. Mercy is a hand that steadies. Hope is a lamp that does not go out. Assurance is a quiet bed where the soul can lay down. Soon, I will move to the next reading. The pace will remain slow. The tone will remain gentle. For now, stay with the calm. Feel the lamp at your side. Let the harbor hold the small boat. Let the ruler's care be a warm shore. When you are ready, breathe in once more. Breathe out. Place the thoughts gently on the imagined table. Close the eyes or keep them soft. The night keeps its steady watch with you. The reading pauses here with intent. We will continue together when the next wave comes. I settle the book in my lap and let the light fall like a small mercy across the page. A hush returns to the room. The breath slows. The reading becomes a steady, low sound at the edge of sleep. Tonight, I turn the mind to a familiar image. It is soft and simple. It is meant to hold the weary. Think of a shepherd. Picture a figure who walks without hurry. A staff rests in one hand. The other hand reaches out in small, careful gestures. No crowd surrounds. A small flock stays nearby. The scene sits by the side of evening. The air cools. Shadows stretch long and gentle. The shepherd is a guide. That guide knows the pasture by name. Smooth ground is chosen. High grass is chosen when rest is needed. A path is found that avoids the brambles. The feet of the flock follow with a calm born of trust. No force is used. There is only steady leading and attentive care. Imagine the pasture itself, Grass bends under light steps. It smells faintly of earth and dew. The surface is soft to bare feet. A small brook moves with a quiet voice. Water touches stone and then slips along. The sound has no urgency. It reminds the heart to slow. Place the weight of the day beside you in the scene. See it as a small sack placed on a rock near the brook. Name it softly if that helps. Let the breeze touch it. Watch one hand open. The shepherd leans close. There is no reprimand. There is a tender exchange. The sack is not taken and thrown away. It is lifted, and the load becomes shared. A line from a passage read before returns gently to memory. It shows a leader who calls the tired to rest. The tone is not sharp. It invites with humility. The leader does not demand perfect strength. Instead, an easy yoke is offered. The heavy load loosens. The walking becomes light. The invitation is to learn from a heart that is gentle and lowly. The image is of someone who walks beside, not above. As I read, breathe with the picture. Inhale as you imagine, green blades rising cool against your skin. Hold the breath for a soft count. Exhale and let tension sink into the earth. Repeat. Each breath acts like a path marker. Each exhale rests a bit more weight on the ground. There is guidance here that looks like small, practical things. The shepherd knows when to slow the pace. Shade is sought when the sun grows firm. The flock is kept from the cliff edge. In the same way, gentle care steers attention away from danger. It leads toward places where rest is possible. This guidance is quiet. It is practical. It is close. Picture the shepherd's hands. One hand steadies the stumbling lamb. One hand nudges the grass aside to reveal a tender shoot. The hands do not rush the process of healing. They do not hurry a broken foot back to strength. This care is slow and respectful. It honors the small, steady work of mending. The scene allows for tears without shame. A sheep may lower its head and let a soft sound come. The shepherd does not flinch. That presence receives sadness as part of the evening. In this quiet, mercy is not a distant idea. It is a hand that smooths the coat and a voice that names the track ahead. Now, let the mind hold an image from another reading. A voice spoke of being meek and humble. It offered rest to heavy shoulders. That voice promised a companion on the road. Remember it as a friendly light in the night. It is not a harsh glare. It is a lantern close to the ground, showing each step as it comes. Do not worry about the exact words. Let the sense of the promise rest. Help is near for those who grow weary. The offer is simple. It asks to walk in a different way. The yoke becomes shared. The burden becomes lighter when carried together. The relief is quiet but real. If doubt sits in the room like a small chill, name it and offer it a place by the brook. Watch as the water reflects the sky and washes the edge of that doubt. Allow time. Trust often grows slowly. It finds roots in soft soil over many quiet moments. Mercy is patient with the slow work of trust. Allow a small exercise now. Picture a path through the grass. See the feet moving slowly, one step at a time. With each step, notice a point of peace, appearing nothing loud. Simply a small clearing of mind. Keep walking in this imagination. The pace is gentle. No speed is required. The path does not demand a schedule. Notice how the shepherd's pace matches the flock. Nothing is hurried. The rhythm fits the body. The rhythm soothes. Let this slow cadence match your breathing. Inhale 2 soft counts. Hold 1. Exhale 3. Keep the rhythm as a companion for the imagination. There is also a tenderness for hard places. Rocks appear along the way. A sudden slope may cause the flock to pause. The shepherd does not leave them there. Hands find purchase. A rope is offered. The climb becomes possible because of shared effort. This image holds a quiet truth companionship, helps where aloneness would strain the heart beyond endurance. No heavy theology will rise here tonight. The language is gentle. The message is mercy. Not argument. The point is simple. Rest is offered. Guidance is available. One may lay down heavy burdens, at least for a while, and walk in a different way, one that is lighter, kinder, closer to healing. Think also of the small acts of care that come in plain life. A warm cup set nearby, a blanket folded and placed across weary knees, a soft word spoken without pressure. These are the shepherd's everyday tools. They do not solve everything. They hold what can be held. They make room for slow repair. Hold to the calm of the harbor from earlier readings, and let it merge with the pasture. The boat docks at the meadow's edge. A lantern swings lightly on a post. The shepherd stands near, patient and sure. Both the shore and the pasture share the same constancy. They accept arrivals without surprise. They hold without measuring worth. If a single worry insists on being taken tonight, choose one small step to carry into the morning. Name it quietly and set it aside as a task for daylight. The rest of the list can remain by the brook for another time. This small act of setting limits helps the mind practice mercy toward itself. Listen now to the hush that settles. The air is thin with sleep. The lamp in the room grows dimmer in the mind's eye. The sheep lie down one by one. The shepherd watches and breathes in time with the flock. The world has a cadence tonight that asks only for simple presence. I keep my voice slow. Phrases land with space around them. No rush interrupts. The message reclines into silence like a warm blanket. Allow the silence to be more than an absence. Let it be the room where the images deepen. When the eyes close, keep the pasture in mind. Feel the softness under the feet. Hear the brook. Trust the shepherd's small steps. Rest in the presence that offers a gentle burden and a light yoke. Sleep may come. If it does, welcome it. If it does not, remain with the calm. Before I close this reading, make one quiet offering. Place both hands over the chest. Breathe in the image of being known and watched over. Breathe out and let something loosen. The act is small. It is mindful. It carries intention without demand. We pause now with the picture folded near the heart. The next reading will come when the night asks for it. For this moment, keep the steadiness of the pasture with you. Let the shepherd's quiet steps mark the night. Let the mind rest in the ease of shared burden and the hope of gentle guidance. When you are ready, Breathe once more. Breathe slowly. Let the body soften. The story pauses here with purpose. The scene remains green grass. A low voice. A steady hand. We will continue together in a few moments. I lift the lamp a little and turn the page with a quiet hand. The room stays still. A hush holds the sound like a soft blanket. I speak in a slow, even voice. I read not to teach, but to soothe. Tonight I read the lines that invite the tired to rest. The passage I carry is simple and tender. It reaches toward those who are heavy and worn. There is an open call to come away from strain and labor. The language in the text moves like a kind hand. It does not shame. It does not urge with sharp words. It offers a place to set down burdens. I ask you to picture a weary traveler at the edge of a long road. Their shoulders are stiff. Their feet feel raw. The day presses heavy. Light begins to fade. A nearby figure comes close without fuss. The figure does not bark orders. The figure kneels with steady calm and gestures to a quiet place beneath a low tree. The traveler moves toward the shade. Relief comes slowly and without drama. There is a particular quality to this invitation. It is gentle in manner. It is humble in posture. The one who invites does not parade a throne. The presence is low and approachable. It walks at the same pace as the tired. It speaks in a voice that will not startle. Imagine a soft yoke resting on the shoulders. The yoke fits without harshness. It balances rather than crushes. The burden that seemed intolerable lightens. Tasks that once felt overwhelming become bearable when carried with company. The idea is not immediate removal of every weight. It is the sharing of load and the provision of steady help. I let the words breathe out. Let them sink into the quiet. Let the image stand as an offer. If resistance stirs inside, do not push it away with force. Notice it with a gentle hand. Name the resistance like a small stone. Place that stone on the path. It does not have to vanish tonight. It simply needs a spot where it can rest. Now I turn toward another passage that sits like a calm shore beside the first. It speaks to the mind that jumps to worry. It gives a marching order that asks for a different habit. The heart is asked to bring cares forward with trust, not to hold them like hidden coins that rattle all night. The instruction is plain. It asks not to be ruled by anxious thoughts. Instead, it encourages bringing every concern into a posture of honest offering. This offering takes the shape of conversation with the one who listens. It is not a list shouted into a storm. It is a quiet sharing offered with gratitude. Think of a small table beside the bed. Lay worries there one by one. Each worry is named and handed over with a simple phrase of thanks for the help already seen. The act of naming is tiny and decisive. It is not a cure-all. It is a change of habit. It removes the habit of carrying every burden alone. The promise that follows is gentle and sure. Peace comes that acts like a guard around the heart. It is not a loud triumph. It is a steady watch, the kind of peace that keeps the mind from spiraling in the dark. It stands sentinel and lets the soul breathe. I invite a short practice now. Breathe in slowly for 4 soft counts. Hold 1 gentle beat. Exhale long for 6 counts. Repeat this pace 3 times. With each inhale, picture drawing your worries into a small, bright hand. With each exhale, imagine placing them on the table beside the bed. As breath slows, allow the image of gratitude to come. Thank for one small mercy of the day, perhaps for a warm cup, a brief kindness, a small comfort. The act of thanks does not solve everything. It shifts the mind toward trust. It makes space for peace to enter. There is humility in the help offered. It does not insist on proving worth. It does not demand a list of accomplishments. The companion who invites rests in gentleness. The posture is one of servant heart, more than sovereign distance. This humility softens the anxious mind. It makes room for rest. Keep your gaze soft. Picture a lantern that hangs low and close. The light is warm, not blinding. It shows a clear path without forcing haste. The lantern guides steps and steadies the hand. In a similar way, the promise of peace guides thought and steadies the heart. If anger or fear rises, do not berate it. Approach it like a small animal at the edge of the room. Speak to it in calm tones, not loud ones. Offer it a place by the fire. Do not let it drive you. Let the steady presence that watches over you take the role of keeper. It holds both the calm and the brokenness together. There is also a practical softness here. The texts ask for prayer that is simple and thankful. They suggest replacing the habit of anxious circling with the habit of placing items before the divine listener. The rhythm of this practice helps the mind unwind. The more one does it, the more the anxious mind learns how to rest. I speak now of a small, nightly ritual. Before the head touches the pillow, bring 3 things to the quiet table. One concern, one small thing you are grateful for, one quiet hope for tomorrow. Lay them down with short words, then breathe slowly and let the weight lessen. The ritual is small, but it trains the heart. There will be nights when sleep does not come. There will be nights when the mind insists on turning over difficult things. On such nights, repeat the short practice. Breathe, place, thank. Let the peace act like a gentle guard. Over time, the vigilance of the mind will ease. The habit becomes a steady companion. I remind you, the aim here is not to solve every sorrow tonight. It is not to untangle every knot in an evening. The aim is to find a way to rest within the presence of help. It is to accept assistance that is both humble and committed, to let another share the burden so the body may soften and the mind may settle. Picture again the harbor, the shepherd, the low lantern. They all describe the same mercy in different language. Each image offers rest. Each returns to a single truth. You are not meant to carry everything alone. There is a presence that offers a gentle yoke and a guarding peace. As I lower my voice, hold a single breath with me. Breathe in slowly. Let the chest expand with the thought of one small mercy. Exhale and let a portion of the day slip into the background. Keep the pace of the breathing slow and kind. When I pause now, sit with the quiet a little longer. Keep the image of laying burdens on the table. Keep the image of the lantern nearby. The room will carry a softness for a while after the reading stops. If sleep comes, let it. If wakefulness remains, let the heart practice mercy with itself. I will turn the page when the night requests another passage. For now, the reading rests. The lamp keeps its small glow. The hush stretches like a hand across the room. We hold this gentle practice together. The watchfulness of peace is near. The invitation to rest remains open. The burden may be shared. The mind may sleep a little lighter. When you are ready, breathe in once more. Breathe out. Place the hands where they feel safest. The pause here is a deliberate one. It helps the next words land deeper when they come. The quiet holds its place with purpose. We will continue soon. I lift the lamp a little and let its circle warm the page. The room breathes with us. The lamp straps a small pool of light around the words. I read slowly. My voice stays low. Tonight I move toward a plain story about forgiveness. The passage I begin with is gentle. It asks for a soft untying of old knots. It points to the way wounds can harden into chains. It offers a different path. That path is not loud. It is a slow opening. It is like a door pushed ajar from the inside. Picture a small harbor again. The same image fits here. Boats come home with frayed ropes and tired sails. Some bring cargo they cannot bear. Others float with a weight they did not choose. In the harbor, a man stands on the quay. He has carried heavy things for years. His hands know the feel of rope. His back remembers long days of leaning against wind. He looks out and sees another boat with a torn flag. The sight brings a memory. The memory hooks him like an old nail. He thinks of a long argument on a far shore. What's spoken in Hoste? A face turned away. The memory stays under sleep. It wakes in the small hours like a tide. Anger becomes a ballast. It keeps the heart heavy. The harbor knows this kind of load. It has seen many boats anchored too close to fear. A soft hand touches his shoulder. Not a soon grip. Not a demand. The touch is like a breeze that asks only to be felt. In that touch he hears an invitation. The voice that carries it sounds like water over stone. It does not insist on forgetting what happened. It asks for a different labor. It asks him to untie one rope at a time. He sits on the quay. The hands that know rope begin to work. Fingers trace familiar knots. Each knot holds a story. Each story tightens the chest. He lets the fingers move. The first knot comes loose with effort. It is not a dramatic undoing. It simply yields. The loosened rope curls like a sleeping snake. A small part of the weight lifts. Forgiveness in this scene is not a grand contract. It is a slow hand at work. It is quiet. Humble undoing. The man does not erase the past. He makes a new shape of it. The past becomes a line in a net, but not the net that ties him down. It becomes part of a larger weave that can hold joy too. As the rope loosens, the harbor breathes. A gull lifts and settles. The surface of the water smooths like a face, eased after sleep. The man does not feel empty. He feels less crowded. A space opens inside where breath can come in without crashing against the walls. I turn the page and let the image remain. The reading shifts to a small counsel about prayer and gratitude. The counsel is simple and steady. It suggests bringing anxiety forward like a small bundle. Place it on a table. Name it in a short phrase. Then speak the name to the listener who waits with both hands ready. The act is practical. It looks like a neighbor laying a bowl on a porch. It feels like setting down a heavy coat. It is modest. It is decisive. The anxious heart learns a new motion. Instead of muttering the worry until it becomes a habit, the heart offers it aloud in a way that changes the posture of keeping. Saying the worry in this quiet counts as giving it away a little. This giving is paired with thanks. Not a long list. A single, honest thing. A warm cup. A brief smile. A small mercy remembered. The two acts walk together. One lets go. The other finds something to hold in return. Gratitude does not deny pain. It touches a small mercy with an open hand and makes room for the rest to breathe. I ask the listeners to try a small practice now. Breathe in slowly and picture the rope on the key. Breathe out and imagine loosening one knot. Name one worry and place it on the small table beside the bed. Name one small thing to be grateful for and set it beside the worry. Finish with a short, quiet prayer that needs no flourish. It can be one line in the heart. Offer the bundle and step back. The peace that follows this habit arrives oddly. It is not always loud. Sometimes it comes like fog that thins slowly as the sun lifts. Sometimes it arrives like a hand settling on the brow. Often it comes when the mind is not watching. The scripture I read speaks of a peace that goes beyond grasping. It wraps around thinking and feeling. It guards the heart in a way that does not depend on a tidy life. This peace is not a promise that troubles vanish. Storms still come. Boats still need mending. But the peace keeps the harbor steady. It keeps the key from shaking at every small wave. When forgiveness takes hold, the harbor holds more boats with less risk of collision. The mind finds a gentler rhythm. Sleep slips in easier. The story reaches inward now. Forgiveness is not only for those who wrong us. It is often first needed for the self. Guilt and shame can be sharp stones in a pocket. They jostle and bruise with every step. Sometimes the harshest voice is the one inside. The man on the quay notices this. He sees how the rope he tightens around. Another also binds his own wrist. So he turns the hand inward. He loosens a different knot. He names a failure with honesty, and then lets it rest on the table. He thanks for a small kindness he did not expect. He speaks a short prayer, asking for help to learn a new way. The prayer is not a demand. It is a handing over. It is a practice of trust. I keep my tone low as I say this. The habit of self-reproach changes slowly. The practice of giving worries away and of naming small mercies rewires the night. It changes the posture of sleep. It makes less room for spinning thoughts. It invites a different company in bed, one that watches kindly instead of amplifying fault. There is a communal note here. The harbor does not belong to one man. Boats come and go. The same quay holds many journeys. Forgiveness thus becomes a public work as well as a private one. When a person releases anger, a chain loosens that touched many others. When a person forgives self, the calm spills outward to neighbors, to family, to places unseen. I read a line that says the mind will be guarded when cares are handed over with thanks. The phrase is quiet, but it lands like a gentle lamp. It speaks of a watch that is not anxious. The guarding peace keeps the heart from collapsing into worry. It watches with a patience that human frailty cannot always manage alone. Pause with me now. Breathe in and picture the key, the rope, the table. Breathe out and imagine one knot coming loose. Let the shoulders rest. If tears come, allow them as part of the loosening. They are not a sign of failure. They are the sound of a rope uncoiling. As the story closes, the man on the quay stands and looks at the water. The light on the harbour is mild. The boat that once flew a torn flag now bobs with steadier motion. The man does not feel suddenly healed. He feels less worn by old burdens. The night keeps its same hush, but his place in it changes. He carries less ballast. His sleep is on a slightly gentler sea. I fold the page and bring the lamp down a notch. The room holds the quiet like a bowl. The practice is small and repeatable. Take one worry, name it, give it away. Pick one mercy to hold. Speak a short prayer. These steps repeat quietly at the bedside. Over time the knots become fewer. The harbour steadies. Before I pause, I offer a brief invitation to the bedside. Place both hands on the chest. Breathe in slowly. Feel the heart lift a small measure. Breathe out and let a single knot loosen in the mind. Name one worry and one mercy in your heart. Hand them to the one who listens. Let the peace that surpasses thought settle like a thin shawl over the shoulders. The reading rests now. The lamp keeps its soft glow. The harbour image will stay a little while. If sleep comes, welcome it without fuss. If wakefulness stays, return to the practice. Unwind a small knot. Name a mercy. Offer a short prayer with a grateful heart. The peace that does not rely on understanding often arrives in these tiny, repeated acts. I close the cover with care. The pause is not an ending. It is a deliberate space where the work of forgiveness can continue. The night is an ample place for slow repair. The lamp fades, but the practice remains. When the next passage comes, we will pick up the thread again. For now, rest with the harbour, the key, and the table. Let the hands that know rope find gentleness. Let the heart learn to give and to receive. The silence holds this as a small, faithful thing. I lift the book and let my finger rest on a quiet page. The lamp throws a small, steady pool of light. The room breathes slowly. I read the verse tonight, not as a lecture, but as a companion at the bedside. The line I hold speaks of a simple habit, the naming of wrong, and the promise that follows. It says that when the heart confesses, there is a faithful response that brings clearing and warmth. Confession here is not a harsh parade of guilt. It is a small, honest act. I say the thing in my own heart and allow it to be seen. The act is like opening a window in a stuffy room. Air moves in. The room grows less heavy. The promise that follows is not abrupt magic. It is the steady making right that comes after truth is named. I think of a family story that lives in a drawer in my memory. The memory is not sudden. It is like a folded cloth that has been kept for years. The story begins with a winter after my mother died. A legal form arrived that no one expected. Words in the paper made old hurts flare. A sibling and I disagreed over small things that felt. At the time, like everything, voices hardened into patterns. Cold days became cold years. The house that had once breathed together grew rooms that closed. The heart tightened into a small, guarded shape. The travel between houses lessened. A call went unanswered. Birthdays passed with polite notes instead of visits. Each withheld step became another knot in the rope I carried. The anger was not loud. It was the slow, steady kind that shows up in the chest as stiffness. Sleep took longer. Quiet hours became a place where the memory replayed in small loops. One night, months after the first winter, the memory wakes me just before dawn. The chest feels tight. The lamp is the same small globe it is now. The harbour in my mind rocks with a small, persistent motion. I sit upright and name the thing aloud in the dark. The word is not elaborate. It is not a public confession. It is a simple telling of truth. The hurt is real. The response has been real. Then I ask for help to see a new way. The asking is soft. It feels like loosening a knot by hand. Bit by bit, that morning, I make a small decision. Not a dramatic reconciliation staged for others. A single, private move. I write a letter that is plain. It says, I am sorry for the ways I added to the pain. It names one mistake I own. It offers no list of grievances. It does not demand reply. The act of naming my own fault melts something in the chest, like frost in sun. The letter is not sent immediately. It sits on a table for a day. When the hand finally moves to the post, the muscles in the shoulders feel less rigid. Forgiving the family member is not a lightning strike of sudden amnesia. It is a slow untying. The mind remembers. The memory keeps its place like a stone on the shore, but the grip on the stone loosens. The knot that kept me looped tight begins to unknot. I imagine the rope that used to anchor a small boat. One loosened loop does not drift the boat away. It simply lets it float with less strain. The harbour feels less crowded. There is also a tender surprise in this letting go. For many nights the body had kept watch like a sentinel. When the knot loosens, the sentinel relaxes its stance a little. Sleep becomes less fractured. Mornings come with a quieter mind. The chest expands in ways that feel new. It is as if some small weight was lifted from the shoulders and left in a small, manageable pile on the quay. The text I read after the private choosing speaks of cleansing. The line insists that confession has a reception. There is a faithful response that does more than note the confession. It cleanses. The image that comes to mind is the harbour again. Salt water laps against the quay and slowly smooths the edges of leftover knots. Wooden decks dry in the sun. Lines that once chafed turn supple. The scene is not dramatic. It is a small, steady renovation. This mercy does not pretend that all is erased. The memory of the cut remains. Scars stay as maps of what happened. But scars in this light do not sting the way they did. They sit where they are and the hands that bound the wound years ago are gentler now. The trust that follows confession is one that builds slowly. It does not force immediate reunions. It opens the door for small steps. In forgiving the sibling, a new rhythm sets in. Small gestures replace the cold economy of silence. A brief phone call becomes a habit. A holiday is shared with feet that enter a home without armor. The relationship finds a new shape that honors old hurts without letting them run the house. The peace that follows is not loud. It is steady and practical, like warm bread baked slowly. The release is not only outward, the internal change is as large. The mind finds fewer corners where the old anger hides. The hands unclench more often. The sleep that once came in thin slices grows deeper. The body rests in a way that had been foreign for years. The relief reminds me of the scripture's claim. The honest naming of wrong invites a faithful cure. The hands that receive the confession also work to mend. I speak slowly now, because the point is small and simple. If there is a grievance you carry tonight, it need not become the pillowmate of your sleep. The practice I found is gentle. Take one wrong that keeps you awake and name it quietly. Say aloud that you are sorry for the role you played, even if you also were hurt. Next, imagine placing the hard thing on a small table at the bedside. Picture a hand reaching over and taking it. Not to punish, but to make it manageable. Then let the breath that follows be a slow exhale. There is comfort in ritual. The evening ritual I keep is small, a short naming, a brief thanks, a soft asking for help to do better. The naming clears space. The thanks invites a different gaze. The asking opens the heart to repair. The practice does not guarantee immediate reconciliation in every relationship. It does guarantee that the heart is less burdened by the old weights. The night becomes a place of slower repair. The forgiveness I offer to a family member and the forgiveness I ask for in my own case both carry the same shape. Both begin with truth. Both proceed with patience. Both yield a quiet peace that is practical and present. The harbor holds both kinds of boats, the ones mended by time and the ones whose sails are just learning to catch wind again. As I close the verse, I fold it into a quiet pocket in my mind. The lamp throws a circle, and the room holds it like a palm. The images of the key, the rope, the letter, and the softened shoulders remain. The practice is not finished, because the page turns. It is ongoing. Each night can be a small workshop where knots lose a bit of their hold. Before the book closes, I invite a brief pause. Breathe in slowly. Hold a gentle count. Exhale, and let a portion of the grievance leave the chest. If forgiveness feels impossible tonight, begin by naming one small thing you regret. If peace seems far, pick one tiny act to offer tomorrow that leans toward repair. The motions are small. Their effect gathers like light. I lower the lamp just a touch. The room grows a shade calmer. The book rests shut on the knee. The harbor in the mind rocks more gently. The promise that confession meets a faithful, cleansing response hangs like a steady star. It asks nothing dramatic. It only asks for a simple, honest turn of the heart. When sleep comes, let it take what remains. If it does not come, keep the practice close. Name, give, thank, and rest with the knowledge that small acts of truth and mercy make room for calm. Tonight, the story settles with a hand on the shoulder and a quiet instruction, let one not loose. And breathe. The pause at the end is a deliberate place. It holds the small work of repair and keeps the night gentle and watchful. I ease the book open and let my finger rest on a thin page. The lamp makes a soft pool of light. The room holds a slow hush. Tonight I turn the mind toward a single, quiet command, tucked in the letters of Ephesians. It asks for kindness. It asks for compassion. It asks that we forgive as we have been forgiven in Christ. I read the verse aloud in a low voice. The words sit like a small lantern. They do not glare. They invite. The tone is not heavy. It is like an offered cup of warm tea on a cold night. Think of kindness as a small, steady work. It is not always dramatic. It is the gentleness that lifts a dropped handkerchief. It is the patience that waits at a slow register. It is the soft answer that keeps a conversation from breaking. Kindness becomes a practice more than a feeling. It moves through ordinary acts. I picture a neighbor who brings a simple bowl of soup. There is no sermon in the action. There is only a warm thing offered without expectation. Compassion shows in small attentions like that. It notices need without magnifying shame. It sees the trouble and leans forward with a practical hand. Forgiveness appears alongside these acts, but it wears a peculiar shape. It does not demand forgetting. It does not erase scars. It loosens a grip. The verse I read frames this forgiveness as the same pattern we receive from Christ. That pattern is merciful and personal. It is a forgiveness that reaches into daily life and says, begin again. I set the image beside the harbor and the shepherd. All of these images breathe the same message. The harbor takes in broken ships. The shepherd tends a limping lamb. Kindness and compassion are the ways the harbor and the shepherd look at us. They are not abstract ideas. They are hands and shelter and a warm place to rest. If the mind resists the word forgiveness tonight, do not force it. Notice resistance, as you would note a chill in the room. Name it softly. Hand it. The small phrase, I see you. Let the phrase sit. Often the mind is quicker to concede when it is met with quiet recognition rather than force. Practice with me a small exercise. Breathe in slowly for 4 soft counts. Hold 1. Exhale for 6 counts. Picture a small, closed fist in front of you. Inside the fist lies one grievance you have held onto. See it there, not as a thing to be judged, but as a pebble in a closed hand. With the next inhale, imagine your fingers opening just enough to let the pebble rest on the palm. With the exhale, imagine passing that pebble to a hand that waits. That hand is kind. It receives without boasting. It does not toss the pebble away. It holds it with gentleness. The act of handing over looks different for each person. Sometimes it is a spoken apology the next morning. Sometimes it is a short letter left unsent, written to clear the chest. Sometimes it is simply a decision to stop naming the hurt in private loops. The small habit is the point. Repeat it often, and the mind learns a new muscle. Compassion often begins with a small noticing. See the person who looks weary in the supermarket line. Imagine, instead of irritation, a curious care. The small shift is powerful. It requires little energy and yields an unusual calm. A kind word, a steady gaze, a foot that opens a door. These are the quiet tools of mercy. Forgiveness for ourselves follows the same rule. Self-blame tightens like a rope. The practice tonight is to loosen one strand. Name one regret. Offer it the phrase, "I was wrong here." Hold it in the light of an honest, calm voice. Then, with a deliberate breath, hand it over for help. That handing is a ritual of trust. It does not mean making light of mistakes. It means refusing to live forever pinned to them. I do not promise that forgiveness will erase pain. Pain leaves tracks on the soul. Scars become part of the map. But forgiveness lightens the load. It rearranges the map. It makes room for new footsteps. The verse I read assures this gently forgiveness is the pattern by which new paths appear. There is a communal truth in this practice. When one person chooses kindness, a small ripple begins. The ripple moves to family, to neighbors, into the rooms of those we do not even know. A softened tone at a table eases a child's frustration. A patient response to a colleague lessens the pressure of a day. The ripple is quiet. It is not forced. It propagates because mercy is contagious. At the bedside, the habits are small and manageable. Before sleep, name one person to bless quietly. Do not make a list of judgments about them. Offer a simple goodwill, may they rest. May they find what they need. The mind that practices blessing learns to see others as more than their faults. Blessing builds an inner architecture of kindness. There is an exercise that pairs well with the breath. Choose 3 short points for the night, one kindness to give tomorrow. One fault you will ask, help to carry. One thing you notice to be glad for. Keep the points tiny so they can be done. A tiny act prevents the mind from hardening under the weight of impossibility. Small actions accrete into changed days. When anger or shame resurfaces, place it beside the lamp on your bedside table. Look at it for a moment, as if it were a small object. Give it a name. Then fold a thin sheet of gratitude over the object like a light cloth. The cloth is not denial. It is an acknowledgement that alongside the trouble there exists some mercy. The two together make a safer space to sleep in. Kindness does not always require permission. Sometimes the bravest mercies are quiet and unannounced. A phone call to check on someone. An unexpected text of care. A message that says nothing more than "I thought of you." These things are small. They matter in the slow weave of daily life. Forgiveness often needs timing. Some reconciliations come quickly. Others take years and many small steps. Do not rush the process. Keep to the steady pace of the shepherd. Walk beside, not above. The presence that forgives moves with patient rhythm. It does not demand immediate monuments. It builds one small bridge at a time. If the heart fears being taken advantage of, set gentle boundaries. Kindness without limits can be unwise. A wise compassion knows where to stand firm. Boundaries do not cancel mercy. They frame it. so it may continue without being consumed. Reflect on one clear promise from the verse. The forgiveness we receive is the pattern to repeat. It gives a standard, not a list of rules. The standard is personal care. The standard is humility that stoops. The standard is mercy that steadies without collapsing into permissiveness. Keep that standard like a dim star to guide small choices. I keep my voice low because the subject is tender. Mercy is a soft craft. It is shaped by repeated habit more than dramatic declarations. Tonight's aim is to practice small acts that can be done tomorrow. One small kindness. One small confession. One small blessing. The trifecta trains the mind to live within mercy. Imagine the harbor at dawn. Boats move with quiet. Careful lines. A worker passes a cup to another without comment. The movement is ordinary. No drone sounds. The work is enough. Practice a similar ordinariness with compassion. Let it become the natural mode of living, not an occasional performance. Now breathe with me twice slowly. Inhale for 4 counts and feel kindness enter. Exhale for 6 counts and imagine it settling into the chest like a soft shawl. Repeat once more and let the shawl cover the shoulders lightly. Before I close this part, make a small promise to yourself. Choose one specific kindness to do tomorrow. Keep it small and achievable. Perhaps a note left on a kitchen counter. Perhaps a boiled egg brought to a tired friend. Perhaps a quiet phone call. Make the choice and fold it in your mind like a little paper boat. Put that boat on the mental harbor. It will be a gentle reminder in the morning. I place the book down and let the lamp dim a notch. The room holds a calmer sound now. The verse and the images remain like a light at the end of a short path. Mercy is near. Compassion is close. Forgiveness comes in the same shape as gentleness and steadiness. Sleep, when it comes, will find its way into a body that has practiced small mercies. The end of the reading rests with intent. It asks nothing epic. It asks for a single soft decision to be kind, to be compassionate, to forgive as one has been forgiven. I hold the book on my knee and let the page rest. The lamp throws a small circle of light. The room listens. I speak in a slow voice, like a friend at the bedside. Tonight, I tell a simple story about grace. It is a story that surprised me. It is a story that changed a night. Months ago, I am carrying a tiredness that feels like a coat too heavy to shrug off. The cause is small and human, a mistake at work, a word I wish I had not given. I replay the moment in half-sleep and find no mercy in the replay. Guilt tightens like a band across the chest. The mind spins the details until dawn. Sleep is patchy. The harbor of rest seems distant. I go for a walk at dusk. The city has its own low music. Cars hum. A dog barks and then is still. Street lamps come on one by one. I keep the pages of the Bible in my bag. I read verses in the soft light and let them settle. The words are familiar, but in this hour they sound new. They speak of being seen and not held only by shame. At a small cafe near the river, I sit and hold a cup. The steam rises in a thin ribbon. A woman approaches who I have known for years by sight. She cleans tables at the place. Her hands are work-worn. They hold a calm I rarely expect. Once, months earlier, our paths crossed in a sharp moment. I had carried a blunt opinion about her situation. My judgment was quick and sure. It sits like grit in my memory. In the cafe, she does not bring the memory up. She sets a small plate by my cup. The plate has a slice of bread with a smear of jam. She does not speak of that old moment. She offers the food with a simple tilt of the head. The action is quiet. It feels like an offering from a hand that knows hunger and does not weigh it with condemnation. I accept the plate with a sense that something softens. The act is plain. A warm thing arrives without condition. In the mind, the old judgment loosens. I notice how much energy goes into holding the wrong. The act of receiving a simple kindness makes that energy unnecessary. Later, walking home, I find a note tucked into the Bible I carry. It is not a long letter. It is a few lines folded under the edge of a page. The handwriting is careful. The note does not accuse. It does not remind me of my earlier harshness. Instead, it speaks of a morning when the woman had been afraid. She had been turned away at a door. Someone else had been unkind. She had thought that the world held little space for kindness. Then, months later, a stranger had smiled and given her a coin and a short blessing. That small mercy had changed how she saw the day. She writes that kindness keeps returning. She says she tries to pass it on. She says she forgives certain hard things because she remembers how one warm hand once steadied her. She asks nothing. She thanks nothing in return. She simply offers a small grace back. I sit on the curb and let the words rest against my heart. The lamp above the street looks steady. I breathe in slowly. The breath loosens the old knot a little. I feel a small shame because I had thought myself generous in the world and had been stingy with mercy when a face seemed rougher than my own. The thought is humbling. It is also freeing. To be shown grace by someone I had judged moves the ground under my feet. That night, I carry the lesson to bed. I read from the familiar lines about forgiveness. I do not approach them like rules. I meet them as invitations. The idea that God forgave us arrives as a quiet fact. Like a lamp set on a table, it does not glare. It warms. The mercy that reached me through a small plate of bread now sits next to the promise that mercy arrives first. Grace in this story is not a grand gesture. It is a small loop of action. One person meets a hardship and receives a small kindness. She gives another small kindness to someone who had once thought poorly of her. The chain is gentle. It does not make headlines. It steadies a few lives. That steadiness feels like a harbor at dawn. I tell this story because it matters to the bedside. Forgiveness practiced daily looks like small acts repeated. It looks like giving someone the benefit of doubt in line at the store. It looks like not answering a sharp email with a sharper one. It looks like taking a minute to hand a coffee to a tired parent in the grocery aisle. The actions are small. They matter because they retrain the heart. Here are simple things I offer as a nightly practice. They are small and repeatable. They do not ask for drama. They only ask for a steady hand. Before sleep, name one person to bless. Keep the name quiet in the heart. Offer a short wish for their rest. The gesture is tiny, and trains the mind to see people beyond their mistakes. Pick one small fault you hold against another. Say its name softly. Imagine placing it on a low table beside the bed. Picture a warm hand taking it and setting it aside. You do not erase the past. You choose not to carry it tonight. Practice a small act of kindness the next day. It can be a note, an offered seat, a held door. Keep the action humble and aim for regularity. Small things widen the habit of mercy. When you catch yourself judging, pause. Take 3 slow breaths. Let the breath be a gentle bridge between the impulse to react and the chance to respond with calm. These practices are not cures. They are soft instruments. They help the heart change rhythm. Grace often arrives through ordinary tools. I remember another night when I expected scorn at a community meeting. I had prepared to be corrected. Instead, a young volunteer I had barely noticed passed me a cup of water and sat beside me without a word. The presence of that calm companion steadied my pulse. The moment taught me that care can come from unexpected hands. The lesson repeats in the cafe story. Grace tends to appear where the mind does not expect it. When I read the Bible aloud to the room, I often choose passages that remind me of this. Not to argue, not to preach, to steady a tired heart. The lines that say God forgave us are quiet anchors. They are reminders that forgiveness is not a performance. It is a posture. It is a slow turning toward mercy. If it helps, try this breathing with a small imagining. Inhale slowly and picture someone you find difficult. Hold the breath for a gentle count. Exhale and imagine placing the difficulty into a small cloth bundle. See yourself handing that bundle to a person who receives it kindly. Repeat a few times. Do not force feelings you do not have. Let the motion be a practice. Habits form by small, repeated acts. I know this path is not simple for everyone. Some wounds are deep and sharp. A single night will not unravel a long pain. The practices I offer are not a promise of instant peace. They are invitations to a different way of tending things. They make room for slow repair. There is comfort in remembering that the first mercy we receive is not earned. It is a gift. In my quiet hours I read that truth and let it sit like warm bread beside my pillow. The woman at the cafe did not demand my apology before she acted. She had been given kindness. She passed it along. Her mercy was unexpected, and it changed me. Forgiveness grows more likely when practiced small. When it becomes a daily habit, it reshapes evenings. It makes harbor for sleep. It steadies mornings. It keeps the lamp lit in the room of the heart. Tonight, at the bedside, I invite one small exercise. Choose a single person. It can be someone close or someone you meet in the street. Think of one small mercy you can offer tomorrow. Keep it tiny. Perhaps a written note. Perhaps listening without interruption. Perhaps a warm cup. Decide it now. Tuck the decision into your pocket of intention. Let it be a small task for daylight. I close the book for a moment and rest my hand over the page. The lamp is low. The room breathes with the slow rhythm of evening. The story of the cafe sits with me like a quiet companion. It tells me that grace comes from unlikely places. It tells me that I can both receive and pass it on. If sleep comes, let it be welcome. If not, return to the small breathing practice. Name one person to bless. Place one burden on a low table in the mind. Choose one small kindness for the morning. These tiny things form a path. They lead us toward rest. I will read again when the next part asks for it. For now, rest with the knowledge that grace sometimes comes from the hand you once misjudged. It arrives without ceremony. It asks only that you notice and then pass it on. That passing is the simple way we practice forgiveness each day. The lamp holds a witness to that promise. The night keeps the rest. I hold the book gently and feel the familiar weight of the pages. The lamp makes a small, steady circle of light. The room breathes along with me. I speak slowly, as I always do, because the night listens best to low things. There is a line I carry with me. It is simple and plain. It says that grace meets our weakness. It says that power can look like gentleness when strength comes through the places we are fragile. The phrase is not a lecture. It is a soft fact I return to. When the shoulders grow weary, I remember a season when the body was thinner than usual. Tasks I once managed felt far away. Plans crumple like paper left in the rain. I kept trying to patch things with hurried effort. I tried to be steady by sheer will. That will felt useful at first. Then it became a weight the chest could not lift. One evening, the lamp in my room seemed too bright for the tired eyes. I sat at the edge of the bed and felt a small, honest defeat. It surprised me how much courage it takes to say out loud, I cannot do this alone. The admission was not dramatic. It was a quiet, necessary truth. In that moment, a memory arrived, one of the harbor and the key. I saw again the man loosening knot. The image was not about failure. It was about a change of hands. I let the knot go. I placed my small burden on the imagined table beside me. The act felt like a single, clean breath. The verse I hold tonight tells the same story, but in a few precise words. It says God's grace is sufficient. It says God's power is made perfect in weakness. Those sentences reframe ordinary nights. They invite a new posture toward the things we cannot fix. To be weak is not to be abandoned. It is not a failing stamped in the mind. Weakness is the place where help can move through. Think of a window that opens onto a room that had been closed. Air comes in. The room breathes differently. The change is not dramatic. It is steady. It is life returning. I have watched this happen in small ways. A friend arrives with a bowl of soup when I felt too tired to plan dinner. A neighbor listens without advising. A stranger shows a kindness that does not mince judgment. These are not grand miracles. They are ordinary kindnesses that make a room livable again. God's grace often looks like those ordinary things. It arrives not as a thunderbolt, but as steady help. It does not demand that I prove my worth before it comes. It meets me where I am. It says the burden need not be carried by one set of hands alone. When I say God's power is made perfect in weakness, I do not mean that pain is good or that struggle should be deliberately sought. I mean that when I stop pretending I am enough, space opens for something beyond me. The work I cannot do becomes the room where help can act. The inability becomes the place where strength can come from a source I had been overlooking. This truth changes the shape of prayer. It makes asking honest and simple. I do not have to speak with eloquence. A short breath is enough. A small, true phrase will do. I say aloud, I am tired. I do not have the answer. Please help. The words tremble. They are not polished. They are enough. There is also a humble, practical rhythm I have learned to practice at the bedside. It is not a formula that fixes everything. It is a small discipline that reorders the heart for rest. First, I name the weakness. I do this softly. It can be one short sentence. I cannot keep going today. Saying it out loud relieves the pressure of hiding. The night does not need all the explanations. The simple name is enough. Second, I place the burden somewhere small in my imagination. I picture the low table beside the bed. I set the worry or the failing on that table. It sits in plain sight. It does not vanish. It only changes hands in the mind. The motion of putting it down is already a little help. Third, I breathe and accept grace. I let the idea that grace is sufficient settle like a shawl across the shoulders. The phrase need not be perfect. It can be a single breath that says not alone. The body loosens a little. The mind finds a small margin where sleep can come. Fourth, I ask for help in one small, practical shape. I pick a step for the morning. Nothing large. One small thing I can do or ask for when the day returns. Naming one small action takes the edge off the paralyzing thought that everything requires fixing right now. Each of these steps is quiet. Each can be done in a few breaths. They train the mind not to depend solely on my own resources. Over time, the habit allows grace to become more visible. The night grows gentler. I also want to say something about shame. Often the hardest part of weakness is the whispered voice that counts it as failure. That voice is not the last word. It is only one voice in a crowd. Another voice speaks in the line I keep close. It says that grace reaches first, not as reward, but as gift. The heart can receive it without performance. There are practical ways to carry this truth forward. At the bedside, I sometimes lay a hand on my chest and breathe in slow for 4 counts. I hold 1 moment. I exhale for 6 counts. With each breath, I picture receiving rather than giving. The imagery helps. It is not about emotion. It is about posture. Another small practice before sleep. I write 1 sentence in a small notebook, not a list of failures. A single truth to hold 1 mercy seen today. 1 need I have tonight. 1 small task for the morning. The exercise keeps the mind from looping in the dark. It brings the posture of grace into a simple habit. I have found that weakness often softens the ground for community. When I am honest about my limits, others can meet me without guessing. They bring company that is humble and steady. The help that arrives is not always brilliant. It is quiet. It warms like bread. This is part of the mercy in the verse. The power that shows up through our weakness is not a show of force. It is a steady realignment that allows life to continue in a different, often gentler, way. The miracle is not always in the removal of trouble. It is often in the appearance of help that makes trouble bearable. I speak of this because I know how tempting it is to measure worth by productivity. I have taught myself to step back from that measure. Worth is not the tally of what is done. Worth is the quiet fact of being seen and held when doing feels impossible. Tonight I invite a simple offering of the bedside. Place one hand on the heart. Breathe in slowly. Name one small weakness. It can be anything. The worry that keeps turning. The tiredness that will not quit. The memory that keeps replaying. Say the name inwardly. Place it on the low table in your mind. Then breathe and picture a kind hand taking it. Do not wait for dramatic feeling. The mental picture is a small instrument of trust. Let it sit for a few breaths. If gratitude is hard to find, offer a single honest thing, maybe for the cup of warm tea tonight. Maybe for a brief kindness you noticed. Keep it short. Keep it real. Finish with one tiny request. Ask for help with just one thing tomorrow. The request can be for courage to make a call, for the ability to rest, for the strength to be kind. Put the request in the mind like a small pebble, then let the evening be night. I will not pretend that this makes every hardship go away. Some nights are long. Some wounds remain open. The verse does not promise removal of trial tonight. It promises a presence that meets weakness. It promises that power sometimes looks like a steady hand when one cannot lift the rope any longer. If you find resistance to receiving grace, be gentle with that resistance. Name it as another small thing to lay on the table. The mind often relaxes when it is acknowledged, rather than fought. As I close this part of the reading, I fold the thought like a small map in my pocket. I will carry it to the next room, and to the next day. I want you to carry it too. Let the idea that grace is sufficient sit like a small lamp at the bedside. Let the knowledge that strength can look like gentleness keep watch. Now breathe with me 3 times. Slowly. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Each breath is a small practice of receiving. The night will be easier for it. If sleep comes, lead it. If wakefulness stays, return to the small habit name. Sit down. Breathe. Ask for one small help. Grace will meet the weakness there. I close the book now and keep the lamp low. The hush in the room holds the living truth we shared. The verse rests in the quiet. Its promise is simple. There is a grace that reaches into the places we cannot mend. Receive it tonight and allow a gentler strength to steady the heart. I lift the book and let the lamp rest a little lower. The light makes a warmer circle. Now, my voice stays slow and soft. I tell the room what the passage intends in plain words. It says, "In quiet, nothing can take away the love that holds us." The sentence sits like a small shore. It is calm and steady. I do not read the verse aloud as a test. I offer it as a harbor. The thought is simple. Even when storms come, the hand that loves does not let go. I mean this for the small troubles of a single night. I mean this for the longer seasons that press hard against the ribs. The idea is meant to make a room in the chest where fear can rest. I picture that love as an invisible rope tied gently around the heart. The rope is not tight. It is a tether that allows movement. It allows one to drift a little, without fear of being lost. When I feel alone, I imagine that rope. I place my fingers on it in the dark, and I feel the warmth. The image is not a complicated doctrine. It is a small comfort to hold at bedtime. There are many reasons the mind worries that love could be absent. A mistake replayed too long. A late phone call that never came. A memory that returns like a chill. I do not ask anyone to set those things aside fast. I name them. Naming is a small practical act. Say the worry in the heart. Let it be visible. Then imagine the tether resting around it. The image changes how the worry sits in the chest. I tell a brief memory to illustrate. Once I stand on a pier at dusk. The sky is the color of old paper. A boat pulls away slowly. For a long while I think I must chase it. I fret over whether I belong in its company. Then someone places a small lantern at my feet. The lantern does not call the boat back. It only makes the pier safe. Its light shows the grain of the wood. In that light, I see that the pier will be there when boats return. The feeling is calm. I move from chasing into waiting without panic. The passage I carry tonight presses the same quiet truth. The love that holds is not earned by feats. It is not withdrawn because of failure. It is, in this telling, a steady presence that accompanies all parts of life. The words are not a performance. They are a shelter for the restless. I keep my sentences short because rest grows in small spaces. Let me offer a simple exercise. Breathe in for 4 soft counts. Picture a small candle at the center of the chest. Hold the breath 1 easy count. Exhale for 6 counts. With the exhale, imagine the candle sending a thin, warm light through the rib cage. The light touches the shoulder, where worry lives. It touches the mind that worries about belonging. Repeat 3 times. Each breath makes more room. Another image can help if the tether feels too abstract. Imagine a wide, patient sky above the head. Names and fears are little birds that come and go. They land and lift. The sky does not wrench them away. It simply holds them in sight. When a bird lands, notice it, then watch it fly. If one perches longer, name it gently. Say the bird's name in the heart. Offer it the phrase, "You are seen." The seeing is an act of mercy. The passage suggests that no force, no sorrow, no sleep of the body, no doubt of the mind can finally cleave us from that love. I turn that thought into practice by asking for small commitment. These commitments are not heroic. They are the nightly things that make the heart less likely to wander into fear. First, choose 1 short sentence to hold tonight. It might be, "I am held," or "I am not alone," or even "Love watches me." Keep it plain. Repeat it with a slow breath when worry rises. The sentence is like a warm kerchief folded and kept in the pocket of the mind. Second, place a physical marker near the bed. A pebble, a leaf, a note. When the mind wanders into thoughts that speak of separation, touch the marker. The simple motion brings the mind back to the body. It anchors a small habit. Over time, the touch becomes a gentle reminder that love is present. Third, practice a small act of thanksgiving before the eyelids close. not a least. One short thing that is true, a cup that warmed the hands, a voice that spoke kindly, a door that opened. Say the things silently. Thanking does not erase sorrow. It tilts attention by a degree that matters in the night. I say these things because the mind tends to think in extremes when lights go out. The brain narrows. The small exercises widen it back a little. They do not pretend sorrow is absent. They prevent sorrow from being the only company. I speak softly about belonging, because some listeners carry deep essays in their heads about worth and punishment. Those essays can be tiring. I encourage a change of voice. Instead of proving worth, practice receiving care. Instead of listing faults, practice naming one mercy. The exchange is quiet and small, but it changes the shape of the night. There is another image that sits well with this part of the reading. Imagine a chain made of small links of presence. Each link is a kindness, received or given, a neighbor's brief note, a shared joke at work, a hand that steadied a step on a staircase. Together the links make a chain that encircles the heart. The passage tells me that nothing finally breaks this chain. Even when some links seem rusty, the chain overall remains. That thought steadies me. If fear comes in shapes like questions, what if this is temporary? What if they leave? Answer them in a quiet, patient way. Speak within the heart. These few words, love precedes fear. It is the first mover. Let the phrase land like a soft cloth. It does not have to silence every question. It only needs to be louder than the whisper that says you are alone. I also invite a small practice for mornings when waking is sharp. Before the feet touch the floor, take a breath and imagine the tether again. Picture it as a warm cord that reaches from the chest to a steady anchor. The anchor is not far away. It is near. This simple motion makes the first step gentler. There may be nights when grief or anger insists on keeping watch. I do not ask for quick fixes. I only offer space for those feelings to exist as part of a held life. Hold the feeling in the same room as the thought that love remains. It is possible to hold both. The love that holds is wide enough for sorrow and joy. I share a small memory of such a night. Once I lie awake after news that pressed like cold wind. I breathe and name the fear. I place the fear on my mental table. I then picture the tether as a slow rope, steady and patient. It does not jolt me into false gratitude. It only makes a place where sleep might return. I rest my hand on the imagined rope and let my shoulders drop. The act is small. It helps. The verse I bring tonight encourages a deep, settled trust. The word deep here means slow, not sudden. It is a trust that grows with repeated small acts. It settles like sediment in the bottom of a wide pond. The water above may still ripple, but the depth under it remains calm. As the room grows quieter, I lower my voice again. I repeat the short exercise once more. Breathe in for 4 counts and imagine the lantern at the chest. Hold the breath a moment. Exhale for 6 counts and picture the tether warming. With the next breath, choose the single sentence you will keep tonight. Let it be brief. Let it be true. If prayer is a habit, offer a one-line prayer now in the heart. If not, offer a single intention to rest for a while and to let small mercies work. No drama, no performance. Just a quiet handing over. I close this part of the reading with an invitation to remain in the image a moment longer. Know that the tether is real in the way that a steady light is real. It does not erase the cold, but it makes a path through it. Nothing finally separates us from that care. The knowledge is not proof against pain. It is a companion for the pain. Place a hand on the chest if it helps. Breathe slowly. Keep the soft phrase near the lips of the mind. The night is long and wide. The tether reaches across it. Rest now. I will read on when the next part of the evening asks for it. For this moment, let the quiet of that love be enough. I close the book and sit very still for a moment. The lamp casts a small circle. The room breathes around us. Tonight I step outside the words for a while and tell a quiet story from the hills where I walk when sleep will not come. The story is plain. It is the kind that asks only to be noticed. Some nights, the mind keeps replaying the day. Tasks repeat like a tape. The heart tightens in a small knot. On one such night, I walk up a low ridge behind the house. The sky is thin and clear. Stars hang like small questions. The air smells of pine and damp earth. My feet find the path without haste. The path is not crowded. Soft moss cushions each step. Underfoot. The soil gives a little. The trail rises and falls in easy folds. Above, birch trees move with the night breeze. They make a soft sound like a distant, remembering. It is hard to describe, but in that sound the shoulders stop pulling inward a little. I arrive at a clearing that looks down onto a small lake. It lies like a dark glass. The surface is still. It mirrors the stars in quiet pairs. A thin mist hovers at the edge where water meets land. The mist moves slowly. As if thinking, I sit on a low rock. The stone is cool. I let my hands rest on my knees. The first thing I do is breathe with the place. I slow the breath and let it match the lake's hush. Inhale. Hold a gentle count. Exhale. The breath finds a more deliberate pace. The night accepts the rhythm and keeps it. The animals seem to lean into the same tempo. A frog calls once and then leaves space. As I watch, a faint light grows at the eastern rim. It is not sudden. It arrives like a thought forming. The first color is a thin thread of pale gold. The thread widens. It folds into soft rose. The sky changes in degrees, not leaps. A heron lifts from the reed and moves without haste. Its wings cut the air with a patient sound. The bird does not hurry. Neither do I. The light touches the lake. It comes first as a line, then as a band. The water reflects the change without trying. Ripples form slowly where a fish breaks the surface. Each ripple moves outward and then dies. In that pattern, I find a lesson in smallness. Troubles may break the night, but they make only small waves. The greater calm reappears between them. I let a simple truth come near. Presence is patient. It does not rush to solve every problem on the first breath. It keeps a steady guard. The light and the lake are steady together. They do not demand that I have quick answers. They only ask that I be there to receive what comes. A memory slides into the quiet. I recall a hard season when worry became a companion. The mind constructed arguments and never stopped. Sleep faded. A small, constant fear lived behind every decision. On that ridge, watching the morning, something loosens. I realize I have been trying to hold the world like a fragile cup. I was afraid it would tip. Now the lake teaches me otherwise. The cup need not be balanced by my fingers alone. I breathe in the image slowly. With each inhale, I imagine drawing in the cool, clean air. With each exhale, I imagine the knot in the chest easing a millimeter. The act is small. The result is not instant calm. It is a small, steady settling that feels like a seat sinking softly into a chair. The body is allowed to relax without performance. There is no long sermon in the hill, only a feeling that something larger is present. The feeling is not loud. It resembles the patient warmth of stone warmed by sun. It is a presence that is steady through seasons. I sense it as an ongoing company that keeps watch when I forget to watch myself. I do not claim to name it in heavy terms. Instead, I notice how the notion sits in the chest like a steady hand. The hand does not shame the restless thoughts. It only meets them without surprise. When a fearful thought lifts its head, the hand is there to steady it. The recognition of that hand brings a soft peace. The peace is not the absence of trouble. It is the presence of company. As the light grows, birds begin to move. A small flock skims the lake and then rises inland to the fields. Their wings make a measured noise. The sound is like a soft chorus that has rehearsed this part for years. It reminds me that life has rhythms older than worry. I am a small part of a larger pattern. That thought is not minimizing. It is freeing. I turn the memory into a simple action I can use at the bedside. When the mind wakes and races, I picture the lake and the thin light. I breathe and count. I name one small thing to trust into that presence. It need not be grand. A single short phrase will do. In the dark you are near. The phrase is not a test. It is a doorway into the longer rhythm. On the ridge, I practice that breathing once more. I place a hand over the heart and let the breath fall slow. Inhale and feel the chest lift a little. Exhale and let the shoulders drop. The motion feels like a tiny repair. Each small loop of breath stitches a seam that holds because something beyond me helps stitch it. The idea of enduring presence finds shape in the steady movements of the morning. The sun does not hurry to prove itself. The breeze does not call attention to its passing. When recognition comes, it arrives as seated peace. That peace is a soft chair into which the mind can place itself. It is not a sudden cure. It is a slow support. I stay until the sun lifts enough to make the mist glow. The colors are spare and sure. A dragonfly darts and then rests on a reed. The world moves in small, lawful steps. I stand and pick my way down the path. The home lights come on in windows below like friendly eyes. The house receives me without comment. I have been out. I have been returned. Back inside. I set the Bible on the table. The book rests as it did before. My role is the same. I read to those who listen at night. The voice will be slow. The words will arrive like the light on the lake. Tonight's story sits beside the scripture. The flow of both kinds of speech, sacred text and quiet memory, makes a wider net that holds the heart. I tell the room this small practice. When anxiety wakes you, step in the mind to a place of steady nature. Picture a body of water, or a wide field, or a long hill. Let breath follow the place. Give one short phrase to the presence you sense. There you are near. The phrase is a seed. Plant it with slow breaths. Tend it with gentle patience. The recognition of presence often arrives as memory does. It is not a proof that rushes in. It is a recollection that steadies. A hand left on the shoulder. A warmth that lasts through a hard night. The habit of remembering makes peace more ordinary. It trains the mind to rest within unearned mercy and quiet care. If sleep does not come right away, do not make the night a courtroom for your life. Make it a small workshop. Breathe. Picture one steady scene. Place one short truth there. Let the truth settle like a small stone at the bottom of the mind. The stone holds shape. It keeps the restless waters from sloshing over the edge. Tonight I will read a few more passages. Each will be slow and spare. Each will be a companion for the quiet image you now hold. If sleep arrives, let it take the image with you. If not, keep returning to the lake and the soft light. The presence that keeps watch does not mind repetition. It keeps the same vigil without fatigue. Before I move to the next reading, make a small physical act. Now, place one hand on your heart. Breathe in slowly. Feel the hand meet the chest. The gesture is simple. It tells the body that it is not alone. Exhale and let something loosen. Hold the image of the lake for a moment longer. I tuck the memory away like a pebble in my pocket. The pebble will be a token to fetch in the dark. It will remind me to breathe and to trust that presence. The story of the ridge is not distant from the verses I read. They both ask for small habits to notice, to breathe, to rest with the assurance that someone greater keeps watch. Now, when you are ready, close the eyes or rest them softly. Keep the hand on the chest if it helps. Breathe with the slow rhythm of the lake. Let the presence that endures be your companion tonight. I will read on in a moment. For now, remain with the quiet and the small, steady light of enduring care. I settle the book open and let the light rest on the page. The room holds its soft breath. My voice will be slow and plain tonight. I will read as one who sits at the bedside. I will invite a small practice shaped by a single quiet truth. The verse I carry is short in words, but wide in meaning. It promises a kind of calm that fits the whole heart. The calm comes when the mind stays fixed on God. The language is simple. Keep the mind where it can trust, and peace follows. The peace is not a thin comfort. It is steady and complete. It is described as perfect. That word, perfect, feels like a lamp that fills a room without corners left dark. I do not offer a long explanation. I offer a bedside shape. Think of the mind like a small room. When small lights flicker in many places, Shadows dance and the floor seems uneven. When one good lamp stands in the center, things look clearer and softer all at once. The lamp is trust. The light is the thought that returns often I am held. Keep that light near the bed. Let it be the first thing the mind sees when worry presses its face to the window. Begin with breath. Breathe in gently. Count slowly to 4. Hold for a quiet beat. Let the breath out longer than it came in. To 6 counts. Repeat twice more. The pattern slows the thought, like a hand on a spinning wheel. The steady breathing invites the mind to follow. With each out-breath, imagine the tension leaving the body in thin threads. With each in-breath, picture a small truth settling near the heart. Choose one short phrase to be your bedside anchor. Make it no more than a few words. It might be, I am held, or God is near, or peace steadies me. Say it once, very softly. With the next breath, say it again. Let the sound be tiny. You do not need to believe every syllable at once. The practice is gentle repetition. The mind learns muscles by repeated small actions. Overnights, the phrase becomes a steadying knot you can touch. When thoughts wander, and they will, do not wrestle them. Notice them as if they were small birds at a window. Name the bird without accusation. Then lean the attention back to the anchor phrase, and the slow breath, the habit of returning, is itself a form of trust. It trains the mind to be faithful to the lamp, not to the fluttering wind. Trust is the foundation beneath the promise of peace. Without trust, the mind builds on sand. With trust, it rests on a kind of bedrock. Trust is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to place fear in a safer hand and to go to sleep anyway. Trust is a practiced posture. It looks like simple acts done often a short prayer. A single sentence thanked in the heart. A humble handing over of one worry to a presence that listens. Try a small, practical movement now. Place a smooth stone or a small object beside the bed. Make it yours. When worry rises, reach out and touch the object. The tactile motion anchors the body. The hand finds a fact to hold, and the mind finds a route back to trust. The stone will not make doubts vanish. It makes a habit possible. Touch. Breathe. Name the anchor phrase. Let the thought pass. There is also a way to use memory as a gentle teacher. Recall, if you can, one small mercy from the day. It need not be large. A warm cup, a brief smile, a quiet street. Hold that memory for a breath. Let gratitude sit beside the worry you carry. Gratitude does not erase trouble. It widens the view until peace has room to arrive. In the same moment, remind yourself that the highest care holds both the worry and the mercy together. Fear sometimes speaks in absolute terms. What if? What will happen? What if I fail? Answer those whispers with a short, steadying fact rather than a long explanation. The fact is simple. I am seen. Say it slowly. Let it land like a small stone on the surface of a pond. The ripples may still move, but the stone holds the center steady. If the mind clings to a long list of tasks or regrets, choose the smallest next step to place where it belongs. Write it down once. Leave the list near the lamp. Decide that all other items wait until morning. The act of naming one thing unhooks the mind from the tyranny of everything. The pattern of trust grows as the decision to do one small thing tomorrow removes the frantic need to solve it tonight. There will be nights when trust feels distant. Do not be harsh with yourself. Trust softens slowly. Use gentleness as the method. When insistence rises, look at it. Breathe with it. Place it beside the stone and return to the anchor phrase. Each gentle return is a quiet victory. The accumulation of those returns is where the promised peace takes root. Make a short ritual at bedtime. It can be 3 steps. Easy to repeat. Step 1. Breathe and name the anchor phrase. Step 2. Touch the small object and offer one worry by saying it aloud in your head. Step 3. State one thing you are grateful for. Keep each step brief. The rhythm is the medicine. Do it nightly if possible. Repetition builds the muscle of trust. Overteam. The chest grows less tense at the mention of trouble. The promise in the verse speaks of perfect peace. That perfection is not an absence of all trouble. It is the peace that keeps a watch in the center of the mind. It is like a lamp that does not go out because storms pass over it. The lamp stays lit. In the dark hours, it is enough to know the light is there. The feeling of being steadied by that light is what sleep needs most. When old pain rises, do not demand sudden forgetting. Name the pain. Hold it to the light of the anchor phrase. Ask for help without ceremony. A short, true sentence will do help me rest with this. The act of asking is itself a practice of trust. It places the burden on the hands that can carry it. Let the body respond by relaxing the jaw and unclenching the hands. Small physical loosening encourages the mind to follow. Tonight, if sleep feels far, try a mindful watching exercise that keeps focus gentle. Imagine a single steady flame. Watch how it does not chase the air. It simply burns with quiet steadiness. Let every wandering thought be noticed, and then set aside as if placing a match in a small bowl. The flame remains. The mind can watch without being pulled apart. Remember also that trust is communal. The peace that steadies a single mind often arrives through the ordinary kindnesses of others. Rest in the thought that help sometimes comes by a neighbor's brief word, a friend's quiet presence, or a stranger's small courtesy. The night is not always solitary. Let the memory of those gestures be part of the trust you keep at the bedside. I will read a short line for us now, not as a test, but as a lamp to hold, keep your mind steadfast, and find peace. Let the words be an invitation. Receive the words in your own rhythm. Breathe with them. If the mind argues, let it. Then bring it gently back to the steady phrase. Before I pause, place a hand over the chest if that comforts. Breathe in and feel the small movement under the palm. Breathe out and imagine the hand pressing a little against the anchor phrase. Let the breath and the phrase work together like 2 soft hands that arrange the heart for rest. We will practice this for a few nights. The habit will not be showy. It will be a quiet scaffolding. Each repetition adds a small piece of steadiness. The peace promised is not a sudden flood. It is the accumulation of gentle acts, naming, breathing, handing over, remembering mercy, and returning to the lamp. When you are ready, lay the head down. Keep the anchor phrase like a small talisman in the mind. Let the slow breath carry you towards sleep. If wakefulness returns, do the simple steps again. The practice is patient. Trust is the foundation. Peace is the fruit. I close the page now and let the lamp dim a fraction. The room holds the quiet, as if it were a thing to be cherished. Rest in the steadiness offered tonight. I will read again when the next part asks to be heard. For now, let the mind be kept steadfast, and let perfect peace be your companion for a while. I turn the page slowly and let my fingers rest on the paper. The lamp is low. The room breathes along with us. I speak in the same low cadence. My aim is simple tonight, to let a steady peace settle across the heart and among us. There is a short line I carry with me. It asks that the peace Christ gives be the ruler in the heart. The wording is gentle. The image is of a quiet throne rather than a loud command. Let the peace make decisions before worry takes the floor. Let it weigh choices lightly, like a soft hand resting on the scale. I invite a small practice first. Breathe with me. Inhale slowly for 4 counts. Hold 1. Exhale for 6. Do this 3 times. With each out-breath, imagine a thin thread of tension loosening. With each in-breath picture, a small light growing steadier near the sternum. Make the room a little kinder to your attention. Put a hand on your heart if that helps. The touch roots the breath. The gesture says, in a wordless way, that this place matters. The breath and the hand work together to slow the mind. The slowing opens space for peace to sit. Peace ruling the heart looks like a choice, rather than a feeling that must be manufactured. It is a decision to let calm take the lead in small moments. When an anxious thought rises, pause and ask the peace to weigh it. Ask it to be the judge. The practice is not a test. It is a habit grown by gentle repetition. Imagine a round table, set in the middle of the mind. Around it sit the many small voices. Some are quick and sharp. Some are tired and loud. Peace takes the seat at the head of that table. It listens with quiet authority. It does not shout down the voices. It steadies them. It changes the tone. The circle grows more ordered by a little peace that rules asks for unity. It does not command uniformity. Think of a choir. Each voice differs in timbre. Each line adds a color. When the conductor breathes in time and the singers follow, a single song rise. Unity arrives by shared rhythm, not by all sounding the same. Let the heart learn that rhythm at night. Imagine the people you care for gathered at that table. Some are present in the flesh. Others are present in memory. Some you will never meet, but carry in the mind. See them seated. Let the ruling peace ask for a small blessing on each one. Blessings need not be elaborate. A brief wish for rest will do. May you be kept. May you sleep easily. May small mercies find you tomorrow. Thankfulness goes with unity. It is a quiet companion to peace. Gratitude tunes the heart to notice small gifts rather than to tally losses. The practice is easy and gentle. Name 3 small things from the day that did not have to happen but did. A cup warmed in the sun. A short word of kindness. A moment of silence that felt like company. Say them softly inside. Let the listing be an act of memory and of reorientation. When we practice thankfulness together, the community gains a soft cohesion. A single grateful word becomes the seam that joins separate lives. Picture a blanket sewn from many small scraps. Each scrap is a thankfulness. Stitched together, they make warmth for many shoulders. The result is unity without erasing difference. There is a practical motion to make peace the ruler. Choose one phrase to anchor you tonight. It might be, "Let peace decide," or "Peace laid my heart," or simply "Be still." Keep the phrase short. Hold it like a tiny lamp. When a thought presses too hard, repeat the phrase once with the breath. Let the phrase be a small legal tender. The mind accepts and spends freely. Sometimes the heart resists giving rule to peace. Old habits fight for control. That is understandable. Do not shame the resistance. Notice it. Imagine placing it on the round table as well. Let peace listen to the worry and then answer with a steady, simple offer. I will carry this while you rest. The answer does not erase the worry. It reframes it as something to be held rather than something that must be fought through the night. Unity within a community also asks for patience. When people disagree, the ruling peace offers patience first. It asks for listening that bends rather than breaks. Ask tonight for patience toward one person you notice in your life. Not a grand forgiveness. A small promised intention to listen tomorrow without racing to fix. Keep the promise small enough to be real. Another small exercise helps the heart accept peace as ruler. Picture a soft crown resting on the chest. The crown is made of quiet things, a spool of thread, a feather, a small stone. It is a crown that does not press. Imagine laying it down and feeling a mild pressure. Take the shoulders out of stiffness. Let the image sit for a few breaths. The crown is a symbol. Symbols make physical the choice to let peace lead. Thankfulness and unity bear fruit in gentle ways. They change morning routines. They change how hands move when making a cup of tea. They change how words are chosen in a half-heard conversation. These are small things. They are not loud. They add up over time like a slow tide that smooths edges. I offer a restful, practical habit to carry into sleep. Before the head touches the pillow, name one small thing you are thankful for about another person. It can be simple. They showed up. They smiled. They fixed a light. Say it softly. Then imagine peace covering that person like a thin blanket. The imagination is not a magical trick. It is a training for the heart. A small exercise that invites unity. If the night holds deep trouble, lean into the practice without haste. Peace is not a quick fix for deep grief. It is a patient companion through seasons of sorrow. In such nights, choose one small task to hand over to peace in the morning. Promise only that one step, the one-step promise, removes the need to solve everything at once. I keep my voice low as I say this, because the aim is rest. The words are not argument. They are a lamp set along a familiar path. Let them guide without profanity of hurry. Trust is cultivated by repetition. Small habits matter more than dramatic measures. There are gentle images that help the mind rest with this lesson. Picture a small garden shared by neighbors. Each plants a different seed. Some plants are already blooming. Some are just starting. The garden thrives because people water and watch together. Unity is like that. Each small act of gratitude and peace is a drop of water. Taken alone, it seems little. Taken together, it keeps the garden alive. If sleep arrives during this part, let it come with the image of the garden or the round table. Allow the peace to take the lead in the mind. If wakefulness remains, return to the anchor phrase and the slow breath. The repetition is a gentle workman mending a torn hem. Before I close this passage, rest in a short breathing ritual. Inhale for 4, hold, exhale for 6. As you breathe, say the anchor phrase once. Picture the round table and the crown of quiet things. Picture people seated there, each wrapped in a thin blanket of peace. Imagine thankfulness like a light passed from hand to hand around the table. The room grows softer. The lamp dims by a fraction. The practice is not finished because the reading pauses. It is ongoing. Tonight the ask is small. Let peace rule. Choose unity in the small acts. Keep thankfulness near the hand. When you are ready, place your hands where they feel safest. Breathe again once slowly. Let the peace that rules make room for sleep. I will read again when the next part asks to be heard. For now, rest with this simple charge. Let peace decide. And let thankfulness bind us together. 14, a night prayer. I bend my voice low now. I speak slowly and clearly. Sit or lie where you feel safe. Rest a hand on your chest if that helps. Let the breath find a softer pace. I invite a long inhale. Hold only briefly. Release without hurry. Let tension follow the breath out. Repeat gently. 2 more slow breaths, each one a small letting go. Think of the day as a bag set down beside the bed. It does not vanish. It simply waits. Tonight it does not need to be carried. Place one worry into that imagined bag. Give it a short name. Hand it over in the mind. You do not have to fix it now. I speak a quiet line of thanks. Thank for one small mercy from the day. A cup warmed by sun. A short kindness. A door that opened. Let that gratitude rest beside the bag of worry. Now a short offering. I say the one sentence prayer aloud in my heart and invite you to echo it there silently. Help me rest. Hold what I cannot. Keep it simple. Keep it true. Breathe in slowly. Imagine a soft light at the center of the chest. With the out-breath, see the light widen a little. The light does not erase difficulty. It makes space. It allows the shoulders to drop if fear stirs. Do not battle it. Name it gently fear. Worry. Grief. Place it next to the bag. Watch it in the light. Let compassion meet it rather than anger. Compassion does not excuse harm. It eases the weight of carrying alone. I guide a short surrender now. Picture a small pair of hands waiting to receive what you cannot hold. Give those hands what you named moments ago. Trust the simple act. It is not a test. It is a practice that can be repeated. Say one brief sentence of trust in your heart. It might be, "I am not alone," or "Peace may come." Keep the phrase small. Let it be a lamp to return to when thought wanders. If sleep comes, lit it. If wakefulness stays, remain in the quiet. Return to the breath. Return to the light. Let the chest soften where it can. Rest is a small, steady work. It does not require perfection. I place a hand over my own heart now and offer a short blessing for you and for me. May rest find us. May mercy meet us. May tomorrow bring small courage and simple help. Amen, in the gentlest way. Shuwu. Psalm 46 read in the first person. I read a passage that has lived with me as a bedside companion. I do not rush the words. I let each phrase arrive like a calm footfall. I speak them in the first person, so they may sit near the heart as companion, and not as distant theory. God is my refuge and my strength in trouble. I do not face the night alone. I find a place to stand, where someone steadies the step. The presence I name is near, not distant. It arrives in the small way that helps when breath is shallow. Therefore I will not fear. Though the earth change, even if the ground beneath me seems to move, a steadier hand holds the mind. Mountains may tremble, rivers may roar. The inner place of calm does not depend on the shape of the day. There is a quiet image that comes a city set on high ground. It is safe because its foundation is sure. I picture myself standing within such a city, sheltered by walls of grace. The sounds outside still reach me. I do not pretend they do not. I only choose to rest behind the wall tonight. The voice I listen to is a strong refuge. It is present in the storms that press at the ribs. I remember that power is gentle when it must be. Strength need not break. It holds. It steadies. When I feel the chest tighten, I repeat the simple truth: a refuge is near. Still waters come to mind. In the reading, the river brings a quiet and a goodness that nourishes. I imagine a small bank where the water moves slowly. I set my tired feet there. The coolness eases the day's heat. The sound is even and soft. It helps the mind become less sharp. When nations rage and words grow loud, I do not need to match their clamor. I can listen and then choose stillness. The passage tells me that loudness will not have the last say. Calm will return. Not because I force it, but because the source of peace remains. I see a tower that is not for boasting. It is a signal of care. The thought steadies me. I think of the many small acts that form the tower: a neighbor's quiet help, a friend's brief call, a stranger's courtesy. These minor stones pile one on another and make a place where fear cannot easily take hold. Be still and know. The phrase is a command and a comfort. It asks me to stop the busy mind long enough to notice the presence that already holds the night. It invites a deep listening rather than a loud answering. In the hush, I often find the next small step. I will be exalted among the nations. The words feel strange at first in a bedtime room. I translate them softly. The care that is true is known even beyond my small circle. The mercy that steadies me shines quietly into places I cannot see. It does not boast. It simply keeps watch. The Lord Almighty is with us. This is a short truth I hold like a pebble in the palm. Keep it near. When anxiety stirs, touch the pebble in the mind and say the phrase, "The hand is not a solution." It is a reminder that the night is not empty of help. There is a calm I can carry. God makes wars to cease. The passage pictures, instruments of fright, laid aside. I imagine what would change in a small life if the urgent instruments dropped and the hands that held them opened instead. I breathe to make space for that opening. I will not fear the tremor of the earth or the roar of the seas. Those images can be loud. I face them as images, not as rulers. I return to a steady center. The practice is not denial. It is an act of placing attention. My attention chooses the lamp in the room instead of the storm outside. The Lord of hosts is with me. The phrase brings a certain weightlessness. It is strange and true. Strength that does not demand proves itself by gentle acts. It stands close when hands cannot do more. It offers rest like a bed rather than a lecture. I remember the line that tells of a river whose streams make glad the city of God. Again the water comes, and I picture it nourishing small gardens. The imagery is practical. Feed one small patch, and life returns. The river's movement is patient. Its making glad is gradual. I let the mind absorb slowness. I look at the world and its noise, and I choose a posture of faith tonight. Faith here is not proof, rushed into the dark. It is a patient habit. I practice it with small things. I name one kindness I saw today. I set one worry on the imagined table. I breathe and hand both toward the presence that listens. Be still and know. These words close on a soft note. I let them rest in the chest. I do not demand fast changes. I invite a slow steadying. Night does not need perfection. It needs presence. The reading asks only that I remain open to the gentleness that can arrive. I close the book in my lap, with the words soft in the mind. The reading has been a companion, not a lesson. It stands like a lamp beside the bed. I place my hand over my own heart and offer one small prayer derived from the passage. Keep me, steady me. Help me rest within your care. If sleep comes now, let it take the picture of the river and the city with it. If wakefulness remains, return to the breathing practice and to the anchor phrase you chose earlier. Place your worry beside the bag at the bedside and set the pebble of the truth that a refuge is near into your palm. I let my voice lower to a whisper. Tonight, the passage has reminded me of a single, simple claim. Refuge and strength are present even in the dark. Hold that claim like a small lamp. Let it be the company for the long hours. Rest in the steady watch of mercy. When I rise in the morning, I will carry the memory of this quiet reading. For now, Sleep, if it comes. If not, remain in this gentle vigil. The words stay with us like a thin shawl. They keep the small spaces of the heart warm. I will pause here and keep the lamp low. The night now holds the reading close. When the next part comes, I will open the book again. For this moment, let the breath be slow. Let the light be low. And let peace keep the room. Shalil. Hebrews 4, 9-11. I open the book and let my hand rest on the page. The lamp throws a calm circle of light. My voice is slow. The room leans in with me. Tonight, the passage sits like a low promise. There remains a Sabbath rest for the people of God. I say it simply. I let the sentence land. I do not rush the words. I read them like a small instruction for the night. Rest, the text suggests, is part of the life we are given. It is not only an absence of work, it is a space made on purpose. It is a gift, not a debt earned by greater effort. Picture a small house with a door always open. Inside, a table waits with plain bread. A chair sits by the window. The light through the window is steady, not flashy. That house is the Sabbath rest. It is not loud. It does not demand much. It offers a place to set down what has been carried. I speak in the first person because I stand with you here. I am the one who reads. I am also a traveler who needs the same rest. The night keeps its plain tasks. The chest still tightens at times. Admitting the need for rest is a small, honest act. The practice is to accept the shelter when it is offered. This rest has shape. It looks like stillness. It looks like ceasing from the frantic labor of proving worth by action. The act of stopping is not laziness. It is an act of trust. To stop is to acknowledge that not everything depends on the will. Some things can be left in other hands. I invite a short practice now. Breathe in gently for 4 counts. Hold for a soft beat. Breathe out for 6 counts. Repeat twice. With each out-breath, picture setting a small pebble on a low table beside the bed. Each pebble is a task, a worry, a rehearsal of something that woke you earlier. Let them sit. Name 1 pebble and place it down. The passage calls the rest a Sabbath. Sabbath means a deliberate rhythm, a day made for resting. It also names a deeper habit, Sabbath of the heart. A resting place that is not confined to a day on the calendar. It becomes a posture of trust that can be practiced in small morning moments and brief pauses in the day. Let me show it with an image that has lived in the readings tonight. Imagine the harbor again. Boats arrive and tie to the quay. Men who have been at sea too long disembark slowly. Their feet find the firm wood, and they breathe differently. The harbor does not hurry the sailors back to sea. It holds them. The harbor is like this Sabbath. It receives without a long list of requirements. Being still and acknowledging a sovereign care belong together. To be still is to say, in a small way, I am not the final mover of all things. There is a steady order beyond my frantic control. That steady order is not cold. It is a hands-on care that watches and tends. It is the same hand that steadied the shepherd, the same hand that smoothed the key and loosened the knots. When the mind leaps to questions, what if I fail? Who will do this when I sleep? Do not wrestle the questions hard in the dark. Notice them. Name them softly. Then offer them to the imagined table. Tell them, in a short phrase, inside the heart, that one small thing will be done in the morning. The rest will wait. Sabbath rest is not an escape. It is a deliberate yielding. It looks like a parent who closes the book at bedtime and trusts the child to the night. The parent does not abandon care. The parent trusts the pattern of return. The trust is the point. The sleeping is the disciple of that trust. I keep my sentences small because night prefers short steps. Let the following motions be simple. Put a hand on the chest. Feel the pulse under the palm. Breathe with the hand. Each breath is a quiet pledge. I will try to rest now. The body feels what the mind says. The hands and breath work together to slow the habit of hurry. There is also a quiet acknowledgement of God's sovereignty in the passage. Sovereignty here is not a distant power rehearsing might. It is the steady ruling that holds the world while small hands sleep. It is the sort of governance that makes room for rest. It is a governance that says you may stop for a while. You may be still. This truth softens the pressure many of us carry. The pressure that says worth equals productivity. Worth becomes redefined in a small way. Worth includes being held, not only doing. When the night comes, the weight of proving falls into a softer place. The Sabbath is the acceptance of that softer economy. If doubt presses, name it in the mind like a small stone. Place that stone beside the pebbles on the table. Watch as the gathering objects look less sharp in the lamp's light. The act of gathering worries into one visible place reduces their sharpness. It is a practical motion that helps the mind stop rehearsing fears. I read the text again slowly. There remains, then, a Sabbath rest for the people of God. The sentence repeats like a bell. The bell is small and low. It calls not to frantic activity, but to a single calm posture. The call can be accepted by a simple act, a breath, a placing down, a soft prayer, a brief prayer now. Silently held, help me to rest, help me to cease. No long petition, no weighty demand, a single, true request that fits the shape of the night. Let it live as a small anchor by the bed. Sabbath rest invites another practice. Name one thing you will leave until morning. A single paper, a single message, one small repair. Decide now to let it be. The act trains the mind to trust that the morning will unfold without being handled this very minute. Morning will come. The world will continue. Practice then a short release. Imagine your shoulder as a rope looped tight. Picture the loop uncoiling with the exhale. Let the shoulders drop. The breath follows. The uncoiling is slow. The motion is not dramatic. It is a gentle loosening that repeats itself easily. Being still and acknowledging power beyond oneself lead to a clearer restfulness. The mind that trusts can sleep with less noise. Sleep does not solve everything, but it repairs the small frayed edges of the heart. Waking becomes kinder when the night included a true pause. I tell a small memory that fits this moment. Once a night felt too busy to allow sleep. Lists circled like moths. A small lamp and a Bible sat on the bedside table. I closed the book and chose one task to leave. I said, "A short phrase tomorrow will hold this." The phrase was odd at first. It felt risky. Then sleep came in a few breaths. The morning returned with the task still standing. The world did not collapse. That memory is not a cure-all. It is a witness. A small breath can change a night's economy. The Sabbath is learned in small moves. Rest grows like a habit. Gentle practice repeats the small choice until it becomes reliable. If worry returns tonight, do not chastise it. Receive it like a guest who is tired and confused. Offer water. Show the guest the small chair. Let it sit. Explain in a soft inner voice that this room is the Sabbath for now. The guest may nod and rest. The mind learns that even its questions can be sheltered by rest. I lower my voice and keep my words spare as we sit near the lamp. The passage I read offers a hand to hold through the dark. The sovereignty it speaks of is not a harsh dominion. It is a sheltering governance that knows when to stop the work and when to tend the sleep. 2 more slow breaths now. Inhale 4 counts. Hold. Exhale 6 counts. With the exhale, place one last pebble on the table. Feel the weight. Leave the shoulders. Imagine a steady hand reaching over and taking that pebble into care. The pebble is not lost. It is simply held by someone able to carry it. Before I close this part, choose one simple anchor phrase for the night. Keep it few words. Perhaps there is a rest, or I may cease. Repeat it once with the next breath. Let it be small and true. Let it be enough. The lamp in the room stays low. The book rests in my lap. The reading will continue when the night asks for more. For now, keep the Sabbath posture. Be still. Acknowledge the hand that steadies. Allow the quiet rest to begin. When sleep comes, let it take the practices with it. When morning arrives, the pebbles will still be there. Manageable and fewer. Rest now. I sit with the book closed now. The lamp is soft. The room listens. I offer a final blessing before the night deepens. We have walked the quiet paths together. We have set down pebbles at the bedside. We have practiced small acts of trust. Now comes a last, simple work. It is not grand. It is a blessing. It is a handing over. Rest is a spiritual act. It is not only a pause for the body. It is an offering from the heart. When I lay down my burdens, I obey a gentle command. I step into a trust that is larger than my worry. Ceasing from my own struggles is an act of faith. It is a practical prayer. Breathe with me once. Inhale slowly. Hold a soft moment. Exhale and let the shoulders drop. Let the breath be a small benediction that moves through the body. Place one hand where it rests best, perhaps on the chest, perhaps on the belly. Feel one small steady beat. Name one single worry in the mind. Give it one short phrase. Lay that phrase on your palm in the imagination. See yourself closing the hand and placing the worry gently on the bedside table. The motion is small and decisive. I speak now in the first person not to tell you about mercy from afar. I say what I know by living it. I have needed rest. I have needed help that is not earned. I practice handing things over. When I do, I find a new rhythm. I find a place to sleep without the false thought that I must fix everything before the morning. The blessing I carry is practical and plain. It does not promise that troubles vanish. It promises presence. It promises that you are not abandoned to your fretful thoughts. It promises a steadier hand to keep watch while you rest. Hear these words as if I have placed a soft cloth over your shoulders. Hear them as if I have set a lamp at your feet. Receive them with the same gentleness you would give a friend at the bedside. May you find the rest you need tonight. May the busy mind slow. May the body unbind from its tight work. May the breath find a patient pace. May your thoughts be fewer, kinder, and less demanding. May the deep places of the heart be soothed by a presence that does not tally or condemn. I bless the small things that tend your life, for the cup that warmed your hands today. I bless warmth to meet you again, for the word that steadied you. I bless the echo of that voice, for the single mercy you can remember. I bless its growth. Keep one kindness inside tonight, and let it widen. If guilt presses, here this confession makes space. A small honest word loosens the knot. I bless the courage to name one thing, and to offer it up in a short prayer. The act of saying, I am sorry, even in private, changes how the chest holds its load. It is not a demand for perfection. It is a tiny freeing, if anger lingers. I bless the softening. Anger can hold warmth for a time. It can also become a heavy object. Lay it down. Let it cool in the light. I will not tell you to forget. I only urge you to let the intensity fade enough to rest. Rest is not betrayal of memory. It is a necessary tending of the spirit. If fear wakes you, know this, you are seen. You are not invisible in the night. The care that watches does not leave when the lights go off. The promise of being noticed is not a grand speech. It is a patient keeping. I bless you with the quiet knowledge that watchfulness surrounds the sleeping. We will do a brief practice now. Breathe in for 4 slow counts. Hold for 1. Exhale for 6. Put the mind on a tender image, perhaps a small lantern, perhaps a familiar field. See the scene receive your one named worry. Visualize a hand taking that worry and carrying it to a safe place. Do this twice more. Each time the motion becomes truer. The night can feel long. It can feel like a hallway with many doors. You may not open them all tonight. You need not. Pick one door to set aside. Promise to meet one small task in the morning. Let the rest wait. This choice is a form of worship. It honors the rhythm of work and rest. It recognizes that some things can be handled in the light. I speak a short assurance now. It is an offering, not an argument. Hear it slowly. You are known more fully than your mistakes. You are loved more tenderly than your fears. Imagine. There is a presence that keeps its watch through the dark. It does not withdraw because you falter. It does not require your perfection as the price of care. Receive this as a plain fact to hold in the mind tonight. Rest is obedience. Rest is trust. When I cease from striving, I make room for mercy to do its quiet work. This is not a performance. It is a posture. It says I cannot hold everything tonight. I choose to let help do what I cannot. I place a hand in the imagination now, and I lay a blessing on your forehead. May your brow relax. May the temples loosen their tension. May a coolness like a small stream pass over the places that ache. May the voice of worry lose its sharp edges. May the night breathe in such a way that healing begin. If sleep does not come quickly, be gentle with the restlessness. Do not scold it. Notice it. Name it. Offer it the same hand that receives the other burdens. Let a single, short phrase be a counterweight. Perhaps you choose I am kept. Perhaps help me rest. Keep the phrase like a small coin to touch. When thoughts return, I will read a single sentence aloud in the heart for you now. And I invite you to hold it there. May mercy meet you in the dark, and hope greet the morning. Let the sentence be short and steady. Let it stand like a lantern at the edge of the bed. Tonight I also give a practical seal for your sleep. Imagine a thin shawl placed around your shoulders. It is neither heavy nor showy. It is woven from small acts of kindness. It contains memories of help you have received and small mercies you have accepted. Pull the shawl close. Feel its weight as a comfort rather than a burden. I close by offering a few quiet instructions to keep the blessing alive in the night. First, breathe with intention whenever you wake. A few slow breaths restore pattern. Second, touch the small object you chose earlier. If worry returns, the tactile motion anchors the mind. Third, repeat the one short phrase twice, and then let it go. Repetition trains the heart. We do not promise immediate cure. We do not promise that hard things vanish. We promise a steadier company. We promise a posture to practice. We promise that rest itself is holy because it trusts. The acts you do at the bedside are small acts of worship. They make a pattern that softens the nights ahead. I place my hand on my own chest now and echo the blessing for my own life. This is not a show. It is a shared need. I bless myself as I bless you. We sleep under the same small lamp. We both carry pebbles to the table. We both need the same gentle mercy. May your sleep be deeper than your anxious thoughts. May your waking be kinder than your fears anticipate. May small mercies greet you at dawn. May you rise with one simple task, ready, and a heart that remembers rest. The lamp is low. The book closes softly. I will keep my voice quiet now and step back a little. If sleep comes, welcome it without shame. If it does not, remain with the breath and the image. Keep the hand where it feels safest. I bless you now in a quiet, first-person way. I pray you rest. I pray you are held. I pray that mercy meets you and hope steadies you in the morning. Receive it. Breathe. Sleep when you are ready. I will remain a listening presence until the room goes still. I sit very still and breathe with you. The lamp stays low. The voice is soft. The night is listening. I tell a simple truth tonight. There is a presence that watches through the dark. It does not keep score. It keeps company. It watches like someone who stays awake, so others may sleep. When I read the scripture, I do not speak of distant rules. I read of steady care. The lines call to a presence that watches like a gentle guardian. That image matters now. Imagine a small light placed where you can see it at any hour. The light is not loud. It simply keeps watch. Feel the arms of the room. Notice the small sounds. A pipe settles. A bird stirs far off. These ordinary noises are part of the watch. They remind the mind that life is moving gently, even in sleep. Drove breath slowly. Each exhale lets the shoulders loosen. Trust grows in tiny steps. It does not demand certainty. It asks for a small practice. Tonight, try a short one with me. Name one worry without long explanation. Say it in the mind as a single phrase. Offer it quietly and place it on an imagined shelf beside the bed. Tell it that it may rest there for the night. Next, imagine a slow, steady light sweeping the room. It moves without hurry. It touches the corners where fear tends to hide. The light does not expose to shame. It simply reveals that someone watches the hidden places. Let that light be the image that meets each returning thought. I read a verse that speaks about watching. I do not quote the words now. Instead, I let their sense live in the air between us. The verse asks for faith that is not frantic. It invites the heart to accept shelter rather than to earn it. That invitation is practical tonight. It looks like a choice to stop fighting the dark alone. If the mind resists this, handing over, do not push. Notice the resistance as something small and tender. Name it caution, habit, fear. Place that name beside the worry on the shelf. The act of naming makes the turmoil visible and less commanding. There is comfort in ritual. I offer a brief one. Place a hand on the chest. Breathe in for 4 soft counts. Hold only a moment. Let the breath out slowly for 6 counts. With each out-breath, imagine the presence that watches drawing near. Not to press, but to steady. Repeat 2 more times. Now picture a watchman who knows the night well. He is not a stranger. His face is familiar in temperament. Like someone who has cared for the same house for many evenings. Immobis quietly. Attending small needs. He checks the lamp. He smooths a blanket. He does not demand explanations. He simply tends. This watchman image is not a lecture about work. It is a tender reminder that care arrives in small gestures. A note left on a table, a cup warmed, a hand offered across the table. These things are the grammar of watching. They say you are not left alone. I often find that the hardest thing is to trust that watching is enough. The mind asks, will it hold tomorrow? Will it notice the small turning of life? The best response is a small practice. Choose one quiet phrase to hold tonight. Make it no more than a few words. Say it with the inhale. Repeat it on the out-breath. Let the phrase be an anchor for any returning worry. Try the phrase now with me. Breathe in and think kept. Breathe out and think kept. Keep it simple. Let it sit like a pebble in the palm of the mind. The mind does not need elaborate proofs. It needs a small fact to return to. Sometimes watching looks like waiting. A parent on a porch waits for a child to come home. The posture is not frantic. It is patient, steady, attentive. The watcher is ready at any hour. The parent does not count the child's mistakes, but waits to welcome. This image helps the heart accept a presence that prefers welcome to judgment. If sleep is thin, do not judge the wakefulness. Instead, let the watchfulness be the companion for the waiting. Imagine that each sentence of the book you hear becomes a soft footstep around the house. The steps are steady. They do not hurry the night. They make the space feel safe. There is a mercy in being watched that does not demand performance. It is a mercy that says, "Come as you are." Weariness, doubt, small temptations, old regrets, these may all be present. None disqualify the watcher from holding the night. Mercy is larger than conditions. It receives the weary without humiliation. I have kept vigil many times myself. Some nights were thin with sleep. Some nights were heavy with old grief. In those hours, the imagination can be used in service of rest. I picture a gentle hand taking up the small bundle of worry I have made. The hand does not make light of the sorrow. It simply carries it somewhere safe for a while. There is practical tenderness in this. If a specific fear rises about health, about someone far away, about a task for tomorrow, write it down on a scrap of paper before bed. Fold it once. Place it under the lamp. The act will show the mind that the worry has a place to be kept and will not need to patrol the night. Now breathe with me again. Inhale 4 counts. Hold a soft count. Exhale slowly for 6. With the out-breath, imagine a cord of light connecting the chest to the quiet lamp by the bed. The cord is thin and warm. It is a small tether that keeps the heart from drifting too far into anxious seas. Feel its presence. Let it steady the pulse. Protection in the night is not about shutting the world away. It is about being accompanied inside the world. A guard does not stop the waves outside. He makes a way through them. The watching presence does similarly. It does not remove every risk. It helps the heart find steady steps when the waves surge. I encourage a small habit at the bedside. Each night, choose one small trust to hand over. Keep the trust manageable. For example, ask for patience with one person tomorrow, or ask for clarity about one choice. The smallness matters. Tiny trusts build a reliable practice. Over time, a habit of handing over forms. Mercy works in repetition. Small acts of handing over repeat like stitches in a garment. They strengthen the fabric of the heart. The night becomes less a battleground and more a place of mending. The presence that watches is skillful at repair because it has patience for slow work. If doubt rises about the watcher's ability, counter it gently. Recall one small moment that felt soft and protective in the day. Perhaps a brief word that steadied the warmth of tea. A quiet smile. Hold that memory for a breath. Let it act as evidence of care. The mind often disbelieves general promises, but accepts concrete moments. There are also nights when fear should be named and asked to wait. Speak the fear aloud inside the mind. Tell it rest now. Promise to return to it tomorrow with light. The small promise does wonders. It releases the need to hunt for immediate solutions. It places the fear on the shelf beside the other manageable things. When watching is accepted, hope breathes differently. Hope is not a loud claim that everything will turn out precisely as wished. It is a quiet expectation that care is present and that help arrives in small ways. Hope becomes practical. It looks for the small kindnesses at dawn and trusts they will be enough to step forward. Before I pause, set one physical sign near the bed. A pebble. A coin. A folded note. Let it be the token that says, I am watched. Place a hand on it when the mind turns too loud. The motion anchors the body. The hand brings the thinking back to the bedside practice. I will read a short portion slowly when the next part asks for it. For now, remain with the simple images. Keep the light that watches. Keep the small shelf for worries. Keep the tiny phrase as an anchor. Let the mercy that watches do its quiet work. Breathe once more with me. Inhale a calm that comes from being seen. Hold it briefly. Exhale and imagine the night's watching, settling around the shoulders like a soft cloak. The cloak is not weighty. It is the right fit. I will stay here a little longer in the quiet. When the time comes, the last part will offer a closing encouragement. For now, let the watchful presence be the companion. Rest in the thought that someone keeps vigil with gentle care. Let that thought guide the breath and steady the heart until sleep comes. I sit very still and breathe with the room. The lamp keeps a low halo. The book rests in my lap. My voice stays soft. Tonight I finish what we began together. A single breath first. Inhale slowly. Hold for a quiet beat. Exhale long and even. Let the breath be a small anchor. Let it bring the attention back to the body. The chest relaxes a fraction. The shoulders soften. I look at the lamp and let its light be a witness. The light does not hurry. It holds. That same steady holding is what I hope our reading has offered. A calm company to meet the dark. A gentle hand when thoughts pry at the edges. The past hours move like a slow tide in the mind. Images come up again without demand. A harbor, a shepherd, a low lantern, a small table where worries rest. These are not proofs. They are tools. They help the heart change habits slowly. Keep one tool tonight that fits, and let the others rest. I offer a very short practice for the closing moments. Choose a small object to keep by the bed. A smooth stone, a folded scrap of paper, a ring or a coin. Touch it now. With no hurry, feel the texture. Let the sensation bring attention to the present. When worry returns later, the hand can find the object, and the mind can return to this lamplit room inside itself. Say one brief sentence in the heart. Make it plain. It might be, I am kept, or mercy holds me, or help comes. Repeat it once with the breath. Do not demand conviction. Let the phrase work slowly. Repetition is how the mind learns new routes. A single short truth is easier to carry than an entire creed in the dark. I remember the small mercy that came unexpectedly in a recent week. A stranger handed a cup of tea without making a show of it. The warmth steadied more than the tea itself. Such ordinary mercies are proof enough for the night. Keep one remembered kindness in the mind. Now, let it sit like a small lamp by the heart. If there is a heavy thing that will not leave, name it with one short word. Place it on the imagined table by the bed. Do not try to solve it tonight. Give it a small, visible place. Promise to meet it in the morning with light. The act of making it small and set aside changes how it occupies the night. I speak now of community. The quiet room does not mean solitude in the worst sense. Many of us hold similar burdens. Many of us practice the same small habits. If the evening has touched you, consider sharing it with someone you trust. A note, a short message, a brief word at breakfast. Tell what the practice did. Tell how a simple image helped. The act of sharing is gentle. It keeps mercy moving. If speaking feels too large, write one line in a small notebook. Record a single thing that brought rest. Keep the habit simple. Over time, the pages collect a slow testimony. The collection itself becomes a kind of fellowship. It reminds the heart that mercy often arrives in the ordinary and repeated. There is no need for apology about feeling fragile. Fragility is not shameful. It is a place where help passes through. If you find courage, reach out to a friend, a neighbor, a leader in your community, or someone who listens well. Say only this: I need a small company tonight. Ask for nothing more. A companion who keeps a steady hand is often enough. I will be plain about one thing. The journey toward deeper peace is slow. It is not a race. It is not a ladder to be climbed in a single night. Small acts matter. The habit of handing a worry away and naming a mercy transforms the inner architecture over time. Be patient with the process. Allow small steps to count as progress. If the thought comes that this is too little to matter, remember the quiet stories from our reading. Elouf Shea, a lamp set down, a rope unbound knot by knot. Those simple things change lives by degrees. They do not demand public notice. They are faithful work in hidden places. When the voice reads scripture at the bedside, the aim is not to academicize the words. The aim is to let them sit on the heart like a soft weight, not heavy enough to crush, but firm enough to steady. Let the verses be companions rather than tests. Let them teach the body how to relax. Let them teach the mind how to return to gentleness. If you keep a midnight habit of worry, try a small alteration. When the mind rises to tally its litany, breathe once and repeat the anchor phrase. Then name one tiny next step for morning. A single small task dislodges the feeling that everything must be fixed at once. The rest of the list may wait. The mind learns to rest through this small mercy. I invite continuing the journey together. There are many ways. Meet with someone in your neighborhood for a short time of shared listening. Join a small circle that meets for prayer or quiet reading. Share one story of mercy at the table with people you trust. Keep community small and steady rather than large and performative. If you are unsure where to go, find one person who listens without finishing sentences. Offer to swap a short note each week. Tell 2 lines, one worry you are handing over, and one thing for which you are grateful. That exchange builds a slow companionship. It teaches trust through repetition. I do not promise easy nights. Some evenings remain long despite a practice. The techniques do not erase deep sorrow or sudden crisis. They provide shelter to continue. They offer a posture from which practical help can be sought and received. When a night refuses to yield, seek help in daylight. Ask for company that is trained to carry heavy things. Allah's prayer, now. Not a long speech. A single asking that sits like a soft hand. Help us rest. Meet the parts we cannot hold. Place a steady hand where the grip has loosened. Grant small mercies in the morning. Teach the heart to be gentle with itself. Keep watch while sleep comes. I place my hand lightly over my own heart as I speak that prayer. The gesture is practical. It reminds the body that the mind is not the only seat of care. Rest of body helps rest of mind. The touch calms the nervous system. The breath follows. When sleep comes, receive it as a gift and not as a failure. When wakefulness remains, return to the anchor phrase and the small object. Breathe and place one worry on the bedside table in the imagination. Keep the practice gentle. Keep the heart kind. Before I leave the room, I offer a simple blessing for the near hours. May mercy meet you in small ways. May hope find its place on the pillow beside you. May a neighborly kindness arrive at the right time, even unexpectedly. May love keep watch without tally. May rest be a faithful friend. If you feel moved to share, tell one person tomorrow. Share a small detail of what the reading did. The sharing is not evangelism. It is testimony, an honest note on how mercy touched a single night. Those testimonies weave the quiet community that sustains us. The book closes softly. The lamp dims a little. I will return to these pages when the time asks for more. For now, keep the lamp you have chosen in your imagination. Touch the object by the bed if thought grows loud. Breathe. Let the hand over your heart remember the pulse of steady presence. I stay a moment in the silence. The hush is not emptiness. It is a living pause. The watch continues. The small light keeps its vigil. Breathe once more with me. Inhale slow. Hold. Exhale long. Sleep when it comes. If it does not, stay with the quiet practice. Walk the small path again in the morning. Good night. I remain here in spirit until the room grows still.